Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, Tyvis Powell, Jason Lloyd. Plus, ba-da-da-da-da, you're loving him, Mikey McNuggets. And so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show starts now. Booyah!
Welcome to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. We are live from Quail Hollow Country Club. No, we are not going to play golf, although I would be down for it.
Yeah, not me.
We are here for a pretty big event. The Austin Carr Youth Opportunities Group every year puts on a tremendous golf tournament here. They raise a ton of money that goes to a very good cause. As they say, it's for the kids. And we're here for the next 2 hours. A little bit different starting time today. Normally it's 11. Today we're starting at 10 o'clock. That's because the tournament goes off at 11. And the hope is we can get some folks from the Cavaliers in to talk to us in the first hour of the program. We're going to go to noon. Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, G. Bush. Guys, hope you had a good weekend. Good Monday morning to both of you.
Yeah, yes, good morning to you, man. Jay. Congratulations. I know you wanted the gold, but you won a silver medal.
Oh, hold on. I forgot it.
You got it?
Yeah, here we go.
There you go.
Here we go.
That's dope.
Yeah,
now,
let's
it's
go.
cool. I know you're not happy about it, though.
Not really happy about it, no.
Yeah.
I'm proud that we were silver. We lost to
Right.
the two-time defending Pan American Games champions. They won in New Zealand 2 years ago.
Yeah.
They won in Korea, I believe, 4 years ago. They're a paid team.
And they beat you 2-0.
2-0, 3-0.
I mean, that's a good game.
Their entire
good
team, their manager is a wealthy millionaire. He puts all these guys on airplanes. They play 13 tournaments a year.
Oh, wow.
He pays for all their airfare, all their hotels, all their meals. I have played with a number of the guys that were on that team. We won a state championship in Florida when I worked in Tampa in the early 2000s. So I knew a lot of their players.
Yeah.
They're very good. We see them at other national tournaments. They just got us. We had a couple of situations where in the second game we had 2 runners thrown out at home.
Oh,
and video showed that the one in the last inning that would have left the bases loaded with 1 out
was safe.
Yeah, so it's tough break.
Now, how'd you pitch?
I pitched well. Didn't give up a run. I hit well. I hit 454.
Nice.
Knocked in 5. Scored 4. Bunch of stolen bases. Just at the end of the day, we just came up a little bit short. But it was a great experience.
Nice.
The coolest thing was we played a lot of the games at League Park in the Huff neighborhood, which is just, if you haven't been there, go to League Park, if for no other reason, the history. So they still have one of the outside walls. There was a 1920 World Series played there. Babe Ruth hit his 500th home run over the wall in right field there. The field now is all turf. But they have a lot. They've actually kept and renovated, but kept it in its original form. The original tunnel that the players walk down and up to get to the stadium. And when you walk through there, you know the guys, there's a list of players that played there. It's in the hundreds. And they have a beautiful museum there, which is, if you're an Indians or Guardians fan, you need to go there because it's the early portion of this team's history was played at League Park. I'm honored now because the game from the championship ball, there's 2 games that will be 2 game balls that will be put into the museum there. One that was signed by all of us and one that was signed by everybody from the winning team. And those will stay there forever.
That's cool.
And that's kind of cool. But League Park was unbelievable.
That's a landmark in Cleveland that I feel like a lot of people don't go to.
Well, you're so right. There were guys.
I've never been there.
You know what? It's not uncommon to hear that. I played with guys yesterday that have grown up and played ball in Cleveland their whole lives. Good ball players that should have made a trip there at some time or another. They had never been there.
Yeah.
And it's one of those places that when you're there, you get the goosebumps when you walk through the tunnel and you walk into the dugouts, knowing that the Ruths and the Gehrigs and all of the historic players that played on that field, you could almost feel their ghosts. It was really cool.
Yeah.
And I'm a big baseball history nerd. So to go through that museum and to see all of that was fantastic. And now to have a ball with my signature on it that's going to stay in that museum.
That's awesome.
So now
pretty cool.
So now you're recruiting next year, right? Are you getting some guys from the minor leagues?
Here's the problem. Like they have Dante Bichette and Doug Flutie are on this team's roster. They didn't come to this tournament. They go to a lot of them.
Right.
They didn't come to this tournament. This team is one of those teams that to beat them, it's not a matter of like local talent. It's literally a matter of money.
Yeah, right.
They have players from Florida, California, Arizona, Most of them are from the Boston, Massachusetts. When I say most of them, I shouldn't even say that. The largest percentage of players are from Boston, Massachusetts, but they come from all over the country, and they travel, and it's free, and these tournaments can be very expensive.
Yeah, and, I mean, if you have Dante Bichette on your team and he doesn't have to play for you to win,
it's pretty daunting.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, it's pretty daunting.
Nick Swisher, if you're listening,
yes, Nick would be a great addition.
The Buckeyes, they see I'm at right.
I love it.
Boy, we need that.
Yeah, we do. We'd have to get a couple of. You win it with pitching.
Yeah.
We had great pitching depth. We really did. I think we gave up 7 runs in the entire tournament. Do
you have to be a certain age to play or no?
Yeah, so this was the 50 and up. They have different classifications: 30 up, 40 up, 50 up. The guy that pitched for them, that was in a 15-year pro, he pitched in the majors. Yeah. He beat us 3-0 in the first game.
Yeah.
He's 60 and could pass for 40. He's in ridiculous shape, and not just a tremendous pitcher, but he's also the best hitter. Enough on that, though. It was fun. I'm glad we got the medal. If this was gold, I would keep it on for the whole show. It burned my chest when that medal touched me yesterday because it's not the one I wanted, but I'm still proud of it and had a great time. Thanks to all of our teammates and everybody for making it a wonderful experience. And the Cleveland Sports Commission did just an absolutely fantastic job running this tournament. There were, I think, 5 or 6 baseball locations throughout Cleveland.
Right.
And they were completely staffed. You had scorekeepers. You had medical personnel, which at our age you need to be. Every game had to have a trained medical personnel really close by. But it was really well done. A terrific time, and we enjoyed it. I'm told, Mike, is this correct? That Emoni Bates is going right to the big club next year, isn't he? Is that true?
I just, Emoni.
I had to get that in there.
I had to throw that in there.
Who plays in the big club first, Travis Bazzana or Emoni Bates?
Oh, I'm going with Bazzana.
Yeah.
He'll be on the big league roster by September.
I asked him the last game.
Hey, listen, I hope you're right. I don't know if I'm buying that with the Guardians,
I'm calling it right now. He's going to be up in September. Did you see his tweet that he deleted?
Yes, that he can help the team right away.
It was smart for him to delete the tweet. But here's what I love. When I saw it, I said, ooh, dumb. Ooh, I love it. Because it speaks to the confidence this young man has.
Yeah.
I only saw 3 games that he played. It was later in the season when I realized he was really on the radar as the potential number 1. And I know you studied him closely as well. And if there was a kid that came out of a Cleveland Guardians mold factory.
Yeah.
There he is.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I already said we did the Ultimate Guardian show this morning. I said I could see him batting second for the major league team by next year. Like so
you don't see him getting even a couple at bats or some experience in September?
We'll get back to it here because we have a special guest, but I would like to. Yeah. I just don't know if I have faith in the organization that they'll do that. But
I think Stephen Vogt is the kind of manager that's going to say,
I hope so. We'll talk more about Travis Bazzana later. Got Ted Gidd Jr. here.
Hey, what? You want to go? You want to go right into it?
All right.
So, are you golfing?
Yes.
Are you good?
No.
Okay, so let me start by saying this. I love the honesty.
Yeah.
I absolutely love the honesty. Also, I love the fact that when you go on TV, you always wear the shades.
Thank you.
Like, that's a really cool signature look. You did some stuff for Channel 3.
Yes.
And I watched, and I'm close with Nick Camino, obviously, but I watched, and I texted Nick, I go, enjoy these moments. You are currently sharing the screen with the coolest guy you will ever be on TV with.
I like that because I follow right behind. I said, Teddy Ball Game gets that off. I got to wear glasses too.
He started wearing sunglasses right after you did.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with it.
And those are not the cheapo sunglasses that I get at Target for $10.
So this is my little brother named Leonard. This is his own line.
Oh, really?
Oh, wow.
Yes, it's here in Cleveland, Ohio. So some of the reasons why I do wear the sunglasses is to give back to some of my guys that is in the neighborhood to have their own
help their business.
To help their business. You know.
Wow. So we will also do the same thing. Now we're not paying 4 figures for them.
Nah.
But we will gladly spread the love with those shades on the air. Am I right?
Yes, 100%.
So I'll make sure you get the right price for the right.
We will, and we'll get you some really good publicity.
No doubt.
How are you?
I'm great, man. I'm hanging in there, just enjoying retirement, enjoying life, enjoying my kids. I have twins, a boy and a girl.
How old are they?
14. They'll be 14 this year.
So. Oh, wow. Are they playing sports?
One is. That's the girl.
Yeah. What does she play?
She runs track, I bet.
Track.
Okay.
And her events?
The 100, 200, 400.
Is she looking at colleges yet?
We're I'm kind of like under the radar with her.
Okay, I'm going to throw this out there. My son is at Rutgers, sprints and jumps coach.
Okay.
And he spent 4 years at the Olympic Training Center.
Okay.
He's got all the coaching certificates to the highest level.
Yeah.
Let's talk.
Yes.
That's some recruiting early right here.
Jumpers. You know what? It's crazy. It does sound early, but it used to be that football guys and basketball guys were on the radar at an early age. My son's looking at freshmen in high school. He's looking at their times. He's looking at their jumps.
Well, it's a different time now. Especially with this IG and, the money.
That's it.
The NILs and the different things that's going on nowadays. You can't hide it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But is they ready is the question.
I was watching the Olympic trials a week or two ago. There was a kid, one of the sprints, there was a 15 or 16-year-old boy.
In the 400.
In the 400.
He's going as an alternate.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty crazy.
Oh, really?
I played against him with my youth program.
Oh, wow.
When he was like 12. He scampered against us and everything. Then I watched him 2 years later. 2 years later, I watched him indoor nationals break the indoor national record as
that age group.
a 14-year-old.
Yeah, that was like the 18 and under, wasn't it?
Yeah, as a 14-year-old.
Unbelievable.
So to see what he do right now, to be, not chunking my horns, but this was me 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Wow.
Dad, let me ask you, when you coach kids, do you feel like you've taken – I mean, obviously you've taken something from your dad, but do you feel like you have your own style?
No.
And how much have you – it's all your dad.
It's still my pop.
Yeah.
Only thing that I think –
Stole the whole game plan.
Why not?
Only thing that I think that is different is I seen more, I did more.
Sure.
At
a higher level.
As a higher level. You know what I'm saying? That I could come back and I could have an argument with in certain situations. You know what I'm saying? Of why we should do it this way or why I think it should be done this way.
Sure.
Do you have ambitions to coach at a higher level, either collegiately, because a lot of your former teammates are getting in the game now, and maybe even one day at the NFL level?
Yeah, I mean, it's all in line. You know what I'm saying? But I created a youth program back in basketball is going on about 14 years now.
Wow.
Football is going on about 8. Track is on 3. And cheerleading is on 4.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? So I have ties to my community that I, not promise people, but I have promised myself that I wanted to get a certain amount of people out before I get out of here, and including my kids. You know what I'm saying? So with my daughter being in the 8th grade this year, she went 3rd in the 100.
In the state?
In the state.
Wow. Okay, she's got the dad wheels.
She was 6 in the 200. You know what I'm saying?
No kidding.
In the state this year. So we're going to nationals in a couple weeks. You know what I'm saying? So just trying to make sure that she sees the right things the right way. You know what I'm saying? I was able to see things the right way. I was able to grind the right way. Nowadays, I don't think kids grind the right way.
What do you mean by that?
By with the internet and the things that's going on, it's like, I can show this and get a lot out of it. You know what I'm saying? Where we really had to go showcase ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know
in the moment. There was no
nobody can see you. You just popped down and ran 4.3 and they said, wow. You know what I'm saying? They didn't have a video before you got there if you running 4.3.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So the expectations for the kids are so much higher of what you put out if it's not true.
So does that mean they're not working as hard?
It's not. In certain levels.
Right.
And in certain homes, in certain states, in certain areas, you have that same model that I still live by with the old man is you got to work. You know what I'm saying? And other spots is we work, we put out. We work, we put out, and then we get. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
And then
and now they want to get.
And then now it kills some of the kids that's really work. You know what I'm saying? So it's just a balance that's going on out here that is just so separated, but it's a balance.
Now, do you think, you being a person that's seen big time, right? You done played in the league. Do you think that is a helpfulness to your children because it's not a shock, right? Like at a certain level, like when you see your father play at a certain level, it's not a shock to them. They know it's possible. Do you think that helps them or hurts them when it comes to like living up to their own legacy?
Both. Because I have twins. Mm-hmm. I have a boy in the house and I have a girl in the house.
Wow.
Both 14. My boy don't play any sports. I think that's a thing of what I have to live up under. My dad, my grandfather is a coach. My father is this. So somewhere I try to live my own legacy. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes they don't understand the sport. that down the line it hurts them. Where I got a daughter that's all into it, loves it. I don't have to say too much, a little bit, but I don't have to say too much.
Yeah.
She taking it on. She's taking her own name in it. She's doing her own thing. You know what I'm saying? So I just think that it's two sides to it, and it's really up to me to be able to say, okay, I'm cool with this and I'm cool with that.
Interesting.
I was going to ask that.
Because
How'd you internalize that? Like,
I just want to have a relationship with my son.
Got you.
You know what I'm saying? Not a relationship with a pigskin that I already had a relationship with, that I know down the line, once I move out of his care, he had to step on his own. And then now that's how the mental toughness come in. That's how we're losing our babies. That's how we doing different things that I didn't see kids get pushed to play football and then get to a certain spot. And that person that pushed them is not around. They go into a whole different type of hole.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying? And then that carry on with them for the next 25 years and the next 30 years. Where I want my kids next 30 years to be their own legacy of what they wanted to do.
Sure.
Not just behind it.
I know you have
cool.
to golf, so we're going to let you go. But before we go, there's video of Tyreek Hill rolling up at a 35-plus Masters event and blowing away the field in the sprints. You look like you can still run a little bit. Is there any ever thoughts of you showing up at a track meet, training for a track meet, and running at this age, or you're done?
I'm done. I still got records around here. I still hold records.
Until they get them,
Until they get them, I'm good.
I'm good. I'm good.
And one thing, track was my favorite sport.
Yeah, your dad told me that once.
You know what I'm saying? So with track being my favorite sport, I don't play with it. It's a mindset. It's a way that you have to train for. It's a way that you have to do things. I ran 2 half hundreds about 3 months ago with my daughters.
Just
I got a
to get out there.
7-year-old, I got a 14-year-old,
Yeah.
and then it's me. So I made my 7 go, and then made my 14 chase her because my 7 could run. And then I tried to chase both of them. And the thing was, don't let me catch you. Don't let you.
Right.
And they took off.
You're right.
Now, my baby girl don't want to get caught by the big girl, and then my big daughter don't want to. So I gave her a little bit more of a head start than I should have. They flew out.
And you couldn't catch him?
Couldn't catch him.
Nice.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then now, I said, come back, we're going to again. But I'm a little more wrapped up. I didn't stretch. I didn't do anything.
Yeah.
By the time we got halfway down that 100, I almost pulled both of my hands. So I knew right there. I said,
We've all been there.
you can't play with it.
You can't open
That's
up like
funny.
You
that.
can't open up like that.
Hey, hit him straight today.
I'm going to try.
Have fun, and
All
thanks
right.
for stopping by. It's always good to see you.
If you can't give me
Appreciate
a deal with some balls.
Appreciate it.
Are you going to need them?
I'm going to need it.
Teddy, thank you very much. Cleveland royalty, really, and really Cleveland royal family when it comes to athletics, because Dad was just he did it all.
I was just watching Teddy getting highlights. I was in the time machine. I went and got in the time. I said, bro, they letting this man do whatever he want. Teddy Ginn had this stealth mode. When his shoulders used to go down and his head used to move down, but he's gone. He's out of here.
And the crazy thing was he never slowed down.
Never.
He could make a cut, and the reason he was so good and ran away from guys is because he would put his foot in the dirt, and if the corner or safety or whoever was chasing him thought that was their opportunity to get an angle and take him.
And
He
now
never slowed.
And now his dad and legendary coach is with us as well. Coach, we were just asking your son. I said, when you coach youth football, are you your own coach? Are you taking from your dad? He's like, no. It's all my dad. That's what he said.
Yeah, the philosophy is the same.
Here, put the mic real close to you.
Yeah, the
There you go.
philosophy is the same. That's the
Yeah.
purpose of the program. Make sure that the kids are getting the same information that you got.
Yeah.
And that we can develop kids so they don't struggle when they get older.
Where did you get it, though? Because it's all yours.
Yeah, well, God gave it to me.
Oh, I love it. You developed some of it, and I'm sure it was a work in progress through the years, right? You'd add some things, drop some things.
Yeah, and you're still doing it.
Yeah.
The clients are different today. So we have to make sure that we're giving them the right information to make sure that they understand the purpose of why.
How are they different?
They're different. It's a opt-out generation. They want to opt out of things.
Yeah.
You know
Wow.
what I'm saying?
I haven't heard that phrase, but it
It's a good
seems
one, yeah.
appropriate. Yeah.
So we don't opt out nothing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
People are, when Ted and them came along, it was one voice, and it was mine. You got a ton of voices today.
Yeah.
And that's really destroying the situation of football, sports, and things like that, because they think they don't have to do this, they don't have to do that. They just opt out of everything. We're not opting out of nothing.
I love
You know what
that.
I'm
That's
saying?
a great motto. It really is.
Yeah, so You know, it's
Yeah.
and we have to make sure that your kids understand that you're the only one going to lose. You know, the excuse that you use, don't bring it to the world.
Now, with that being said, do you now find that it's a situation where you kind of reprove yourself to every generation, like, you know, hey, that worked with Ted and them, but this different? Like, do you find like every couple of years you gotta let them know, like, hey, this is tried and true, I've been doing this, right?
Absolutely. You got to trust the process. You know, the process don't change. You know, that people change because of the world, because of what everybody think. It's nothing different, bro.
Yeah.
It's the same. Yeah. They don't love football. They don't love sports like the kids before.
They don't?
No.
Why? Is that because there's so many other outside distractions?
Because of different voices. You understand? They think they can opt out of things. They can take this away. No, the cake gonna only rise when you keep the same ingredients in it. You understand? You can't leave nothing out. If you leave something out, you're gonna get a whole cake. I mean, it's flat. You know what I'm saying? No, everything's remained the same. You know, I tell the kids today that, you know, and I say this too, and I say it publicly. I don't want 2 state titles in a row. I might have 1 or 2 kids that really love football.
Out of all the kids on those rosters?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They don't love it.
Compare that to Ted's generation. It seemed like that whole group lived football.
We lived it and even prior to them, they love football. It's real football.
Yeah.
They do what it takes. The kids today want to opt out of certain things to do less because they're so talented.
Well, your kids were talented too.
Yeah.
But the difference is that they were willing to put in the hard work. And then when you put hard work and talent, you have champions.
You guys superstars.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? See, Ted and them didn't start out with the talent. They worked to be talented.
Wait. Teddy wasn't naturally gifted?
No.
Really?
He was a bum.
Come on.
He was a bum in the 9th grade.
I can't buy that.
I tell people,
really?
I tell people this story all the time. When in 1997 we used to play Glenville, right?
Yeah.
I played for Camp McKinley.
Absolutely.
And that was the game where we felt like everybody was getting in. The year we played them, we won 72-0, right?
Yeah. You remember that?
I remember that.
Reminded me that.
But twice. Hold on. But I remind that's twice. But
and I tell your coach that
when
that's just wrong.
My brother played. My brother played, I came back from college though.
Yeah.
And it was a different ball
story.
game. They had 7, 8, 9, 10 recruits. They beat they was the top of the top. It was like they was playing St. Nations as a city school.
Yeah.
And I said, where did they get all these? He said, man, Nations, that truth. It's a process.
Yeah.
Because we went through it too. We got beat the brakes off by the Nations.
You beat up my high school in the state tournament last year, Sandusky Perkins.
Yes.
And
they was good.
Listen, I've been watching them since I left.
Yeah.
And in my view, and they've had some teams that went deep as well before. In my view, this was the best group because they've got Division I recruits. They've got
more receivers.
Top 5. Yes, phenomenal receivers.
Yeah.
And I talked to some of them before the game, and I said, listen, Glenville's different. They're different now. They're not. There's not these conference schools you've been beaten up on.
That's right.
And it was fairly close. I mean, it was respectable, but there was no doubt who the better team was. And everybody in the program said, yeah, that's what we dream of being one day. And it all has to have, it's almost timing. You got to have all the stars align for a school like that to come in and take on a school like yours.
See, I think that they have this myth about inner city kids.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That has always been.
What is it?
That we're not coached, we're not disciplined, and all that, not fundamentally sound. That's all you work on in football.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You know, that's all I talk about. You know, we good. They born good. But how do you become great? 80% of the teams we play, if you putting it based on talent, we're going to be 80% better than anybody. But it's the 20% that kill us.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
So you got to play those 80% like you're playing the 20%.
So the people that we're playing that might be less talented than us, they kill us in the 20. Well, we're not fundamentally sound. We're not disciplined. We don't know what we're doing. That's where we lose the game. But we're 80% better than anybody we play based on talent.
Sure.
Coach, how did you learn your process? Like, how did it start for you?
It started in 97, but even before 97.
Yeah.
You know, I've seen what other coaches did.
Yeah.
You understand? And I can go back to 97. What Ken McKinley would teach you.
Right.
You understand?
Yeah.
So I studied film. I studied the sport. We was talented, just as talented as anybody. We wasn't strong. We wasn't smart.
Yeah.
Nutritionally, we wasn't there. We couldn't finish. I would jump out on people at 97, 98. You understand? And then I'll be 12-0. At the end of the game, it's 36-0.
Yeah.
Or 36-12.
Yeah.
Because I run out of gas. I run out of energy. I run out of... So it's all that. Then the major part of all of this is this. You got to have a spiritual base in it. You can't win it. You can't win this.
Has that changed today?
What you mean?
The spiritual base that your guys collectively come to with you today, has that changed from in the late 90s?
No.
So they still have that.
That's what we based on.
Right.
You gonna come to FCA. Now you got somebody that you worship.
Sure.
Everybody got. I'm not in that, but you got to come.
Got it.
You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Now you worship who you worship.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
But practice it.
We practice.
Yeah.
But we all gonna be here in this huddle.
Yeah.
And you understand? And we can understand that our strength don't lie on us. See, I don't care about how good you think you are. It's a man upstairs that's going to give you that gift.
Wow.
You understand? It's so many things, man, that I have to change, in how I coach. You understand? And I got it's just like the kids. I did something that killed my own self last year, the beginning of the year. I did my own chapter, right? And it was a scripture that I used. And in that scripture, it teaches you how to the technique or the roadmap that you have to follow to get your spiritual gift that God give everybody. We all got them.
Sure.
You understand? And I use 2 kids. I use 2 kids that go in Ohio State, and I use 2 kids, one dead, one in jail, and they were all gifted.
Yeah.
But I couldn't, and they all were seniors, but I couldn't focus them. It was based on focus with the scripture that we all have a spiritual gift, but if you don't follow the guidelines, 2 did it, 2 didn't. One dead, one in jail.
Wow.
And I'm telling you, one of my kids was just as cold as Ted.
Really? One that went the wrong way?
Yeah, but 2 of them. One dead was like Dante
So these 2 kids you're talking about had the talent of Teddy.
Dante Wooden.
Okay.
He's
Yes.
dead. The one that in jail had to say he ran 37 as a 10th grader in the 300 hurdles. If you know about that,
I know exactly what that means. That's insane.
That's crazy.
That is crazy.
Coach, real quick because I know you got to go. We want to give you a minute to brag about your granddaughter because your son was just telling us how good she is as a runner at such a young age. It must be exciting to see her perform.
I'm so excited about that. You understand? And she's great. You understand? And she want her pawpaw to know that she do good.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Does she have the work side of it?
Oh, yeah. See, Ted have done a great job with her over the winter. Last year she was okay, but Ted trained her, this past winter. And just give you an understanding, she run 25.8. 25.8 would probably been in
the 2?
In the 2.
As an 8th grader.
As an 8th grader, 13 years old.
Yeah. Wow.
She's rolling.
I told Teddy this, and I mentioned this to you too. My son's the sprints jumps coach at Rutgers.
Yeah.
Let's talk.
Absolutely.
He's making deals.
But that's how the business goes.
Yeah.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? So the one thing that I'm doing, Ted probably didn't tell you, I'm over to my own girls' school in September.
Are you really?
Oh, wow.
For my granddaughter. So
Nice.
Wow, good for you. No,
that's awesome.
Ted, good for you.
That's awesome.
Can you beat Teddy Jr. in golf?
I don't know. I've never seen him play.
Really? So we're about to find out.
We're finna find out. But he can't beat me.
Nah.
Hit him straight.
Yeah,
Thanks, Coach.
You're the best.
All right.
We appreciate
You are the
it.
best. We're so blessed to have you in this area.
Yeah.
The good you've done is immeasurable, and we appreciate you, Coach.
And I enjoy talking to y'all all the time.
Thank you, Coach.
But
Anytime.
I keep remembering this guy.
Well,
Hey, I see him everywhere now.
every time he comes in, you're going to hear 72-0.
Yeah.
But he listen. He a public school. He in the thing. He a public school with 2 championships. We ain't got to mention that.
But I need to tell you this. They cheated me yesterday at Ken McKinley.
They got you.
Yeah.
Hey, good job, fellas.
How many sacks? How many sacks did you have in that game? By the way, you remember?
Probably 30.
Ted, thanks.
Thanks, Coach.
Appreciate you.
Keep sharing your gifts.
Yeah.
Wow, just incredible.
Right back.
He is truly an absolute gem, and we're blessed to have him in this area.
Austin Carr coming in. It's his event.
This is his event.
Yeah.
Now, I want to know, the first thing I want to know from Austin is, does he stack his team?
Yes.
Because usually the organizer of the tournament usually stacks his team.
Yeah.
And I want to know, how many A players do you have in your force?
They never give me that. I always get the bad ones. I didn't have a chance to win.
So you've never won then, your own event?
No. I really don't worry about winning.
Yeah.
Because we actually win because we help the kids.
Yeah.
Everyone wins.
Absolutely.
Yeah, everyone wins.
Yeah.
Tell us why you do this. I know it's near and dear to you, and also explain a little bit about where the money goes and how it helps.
Right. Well, most of the money is because we don't. The reason why I like Wow You is, I mean, granted, you have to take care of the people that run it and all the expenses, but most of it goes back to the kids to try and take them to another level.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one reason why I got involved. The Cavs were involved with them like many years ago. And what happened was I went to an event downtown, and this young man, when I saw him the year before, he had a speech impediment that he could barely talk.
Right.
He actually was the speaker for the next event the next year, and he spoke like it was like bird songs. I mean, it was unbelievable.
Awesome.
So then I said, well, I want to get involved with a company like this because they put their money where their mouth is.
Wow.
As a matter of fact, one of our students today, Juan, he won a national public speaking event about a month or so ago. Wow. So I like what we do for kids. We give them an opportunity. We give them things that help them build themselves in the right direction. And they are not all what I would call upper class. You know what I'm saying?
Sure,
and that to me is just because where I look at it, a guy told me something years ago. He said, AC, I'm glad that you are involved in underserved the population, because you never know which one of those brains will cure cancer or cure something that will help mankind.
Amen.
And that's kind of how I look at the whole
And
thing.
they come from all neighborhoods.
All neighborhoods.
But they all need a chance.
Yes.
And you're giving them
see,
that.
That to me is where we fall short in our country.
Sure.
We don't give those people enough opportunity. And once they get left behind, they stay there. We don't give them any way to get out.
Sure.
And that's what hurts us bad. But, again, I enjoy doing what I'm doing with the people I'm doing it with because they have the same vision I have.
How long have you been a golfer? Are you a big golf fan, or are you just doing it?
I'm a golfaholic.
You are.
Yes, I started when I was in the league about 5 years. I've been playing since I was 25, and I haven't shot my age since I passed 70. I haven't shot my age.
Wait, had you prior to that point?
Oh yeah, my lowest handicap was 2.
Oh my! So you're not just a golfaholic. You're very good.
But I'm getting a little bit disgruntled because my handicap is creeping up. I'm up to about a 10 now. So,
hey, listen, that's a badge of honor for crying out loud. Right. I've played for 40 years. The lowest I've ever been was a 14, and that's when I lived in Tampa, Florida, and played every day.
Yeah,
and so I told myself, this is my peak. I can never be better than what I am right now.
And you enjoy the game more now, right?
No, I don't. I'd love to agree with you, but I was at the event yesterday, which Ernie Els won over at Firestone.
Right.
And I'm watching some of these guys are in their late 60s.
It's still here. Yes.
Driving the hell out of the ball and still in the middle of the fairway. And then I always say, I don't pick a quadrant of the green. Mm-hmm. I win if I'm on the green.
Yeah, right.
and yesterday on the Monster on 16, the pin was tucked in an absolute unmanageable position.
Oh, yeah, on 16.
On 16, it's a 600 yard,
right.
far right corner right by the water, everything sloping to it.
Everything, right.
Ernie Els with a one-shot lead comes up and absolutely sticks his approach.
Whoa.
And I'm looking at that going, I want to feel that.
Yes.
For one round, not just one shot or one hole. I've done that.
Right.
I want it for all 18, just so I can feel what you guys feel when you walk the course and play around like that.
That is to me, that is heaven.
It is heaven.
You know, but what I like about golf is you never conquer the game.
Never.
I don't care how well you play. The Tiger Woods of the world, his whole and a guy at his level, what he's thinking about doing is, can I birdie all 18 holes, which will never happen in life. And that to me is, and then you can birdie all the holes, but then now you want to eagle
the par fives.
The par fives to go along with it. So you'll never conquer the game, and that to me is what makes it so interesting. But I had to get out of because of my competitive spirit, I had to get out of the fact that I'm playing bad. That happens in the game.
Yeah.
I would drive myself nuts. I couldn't sleep at night when I would play bad. And
I still do that. I do.
Speaking of bad playing, is Charles Barkley the worst player you've ever seen?
Well, you know, I played with Charles. I used to play with Charles years ago.
Yeah.
And he didn't swing like that.
So what happened to him?
I don't know
took
where
lessons.
Somebody got into his head with that hesitation move.
Yep.
And on top of that, I bet you his back kills him when he finished playing.
Yeah.
All that, because you can't stop your momentum like that consistently and not hurt yourself. But when I first started playing with Charles, he swung the club just like normal.
I've heard him talk about this before, and I actually played in Michael Jordan's event one time in the Bahamas, and we were on the driving range together, and I was done. He was just getting there. And I said, do you mind if I watch? Because I know this is a hell of a show. He goes, this is the best show you're going to see all week. So we were talking about his swing, and he said, what I did wrong was took lessons.
Wow.
And that, you know this, in any athletic endeavor, when you're on the line, when you start thinking, you're beat. You're beat. You want it all to happen naturally and instinctively. Right. And that was his old swing. And he said, I used to have a pretty smooth swing. It's when I got voices in my head.
That's right.
And he said he would actually find himself, his downswing was his problem.
Right.
So he would get to the top and start and stop because he said, I was having that mental thought, keep my hands in, don't open my hips. And it was actually a physical pause in the process, which is beautiful and horrendous all at the same time.
Right.
Now,
exactly.
I tell you what, unless you get your golf off, I got one of the greatest shooters in the world next to me.
Oh my goodness.
So
we need some more shooters on this team.
So for one shooter to the other, tell me about Emoni Bates.
Emoni Bates.
Tell me about
Emoni Bates.
He loves him. That's my guy.
Emoni Bates is he is just born to score the ball. He's a natural scorer. He just needs to put more weight on.
Yeah.
Well, actually, not weight. It's more strength.
Muscle.
Muscle.
Yeah.
He needs to put more to where he can withstand a guy bumping him. You know, because that's usually the biggest problem you have in the league now is you got to be able, because it's so fast and it's playing space. But when you make your first dribble and a guy bumps you and he knocks you off your pattern, now he has control. Because now he can regain and get back in front of you. But when he bumps you and you can take that bump and take your next dribble, that's heaven. And everybody and all the guys who move into that class are the ones that start having success. And he is definitely one guy that has he's been gifted, unbelievable. He's learned the game. He's learning the game. And I think if he can get stronger in his lower body, he's going to be a tough guy to handle.
AC, Evan Mobley, I think it looks like the top four players on this team are going to stay the same, most likely.
Right. I would bet on that.
Right. So we're all hoping that Evan Mobley can have this blossoming of his offensive game. Obviously, he's a great defensive player. Do you think he's ever going to be a good shooter from three?
That's going to be from wide open. He's already shown it. From when he's open, he can make them.
Yeah.
But I don't know about contested shots. But to me, I look at his game between 15 and 20 points, about 8 to 10 rebounds, 2 or 3 block shots. I mean, and when he's playing like that, you're not going to beat the Cavs.
Yeah, that should be enough.
That should be enough to win. But looking for him to be a 30-point scorer or shooting threes, that's not his game. At least I don't see it that way.
Can we get your thoughts on the Cavs running it back? I mean, the comments from Garland that that was a rumor. I don't want to go.
Right.
Is that with the new coaching staff? Is that the right play in your view?
I think with what Atkinson is going to bring, because he's already said that he wants to have those two guys together. I think you have to let it play itself out.
Sure.
I mean, and the 4 guys are very talented. Really, it's not the 4 guys. It's the one guy we got to have. We got to have a 3 that can put the ball in the basket on a consistent basis and can defend at least enough to keep us honest on that end of the floor. But if you put a 3 in with those 2, with those 4, now you got something that the other teams have to deal with. And that's the key, trying to find the right fit in that spot.
AC, last thing real quick before you go. When I see you here and I think about your event, I think about Fred McLeod.
Oh, man.
You know, and you guys, the championship season in particular, there's so many great moments.
Right. Oh, yeah.
It sucks that he's not still with us.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that was really, the little story about the championship, we weren't supposed to be there. And I don't know how the Cavs got us in the arena, but we got into the arena so we can broadcast the game back to the arena with the fans. And
that was awesome.
The closed circuit.
Closed circuit.
And I was in there, and it was one of the best environments I've ever been in professional sports, and the game wasn't even on the floor.
Right.
It was unbelievable.
Right. It was unbelievable. And to be there, Fred and I were there. There was nobody around us speaking English. Everybody was from Belgium. They were speaking. They put
you with the international media.
International media. I had a air conditioned duct about this far from my head, and all I heard all day was. But we got it done, and it was so much fun, man. And when it was finally over, man, watching Fred react the way he did, he broke down, and I even broke down. But it was just great. I mean, it was a partnership that I'll never forget in my life, as far as of working with someone. I mean, John and I have a good relationship now. But Fred and I, it was the best.
Yeah,
it was the best.
Well, thanks for doing what you do here.
That.
I totally understand it. When the chemistry is right, this is easy.
Yes,
it's
exactly
easy.
Right.
Yeah.
Thanks for what you do.
Thanks, AC.
Keep doing it, and you're a class act all the way around.
Got him a bird.
Thanks so much.
Got him a bird.
I
had to get that one.
Will 18 under par win that? Or it will, right?
Usually it takes
16,
17, or 18 to win it.
I mean,
because you always got guys who underplay their handicap. That's all I'm gonna say.
Or,
a lot of controversy.
Or guys that have erasers.
Well, that's another thing too.
I've seen it.
Yeah,
I've seen
it. Especially when there's a lot at stake.
You bet.
I mean, guys will do that in
prize.
And pride. Yes.
That's it.
That's it.
I love it.
Oh, the worst thing you can do is have a set of clubs as a gift. That brings on all the
22 under par.
Right. Nobody has integrity there.
Out the window.
That's right.
Go carve it up.
Thanks, AC.
All right. The great Austin Carr. I loved hearing him talk about, and I'm glad you asked that question because I didn't think of it, but I loved hearing him talk about the moments that he and Fred got to call that game because it wasn't supposed to happen.
Right.
And the fact that the NBA gave them permission.
Yeah.
The reason that's important historically is because not that Mike Breen's call wasn't special.
No, but you want your local broadcast.
You want your local guys for the historical record.
Yes.
You want a piece of that, and that gives us the soundtrack of our guys in Cleveland's biggest sports moment in the last half century.
No doubt.
So it's really special that he was allowed to do that.
We have Juan Perez with us. Juan is 18 years old, right, Juan?
Yes, sir. 18 years old.
And you're with the Youth Opportunities Group?
Yes, sir. Yep.
So tell us your story.
Man, where do I even begin? So throughout my 4 years of high school, I missed 2 of those years due to having to work and provide financial assistance to my mom.
Oh, my goodness.
Who was the only one working at the time because, my father had recently got surgery that was really impacting his health. And, throughout those 2 years of me missing school, man, I will say I can't really say that I missed it because, who would miss school? Right?
Exactly. Nobody would.
Who would miss school? But I was getting, advice from the people that loved me, people around me, to go back to school and to give it one more shot. And I went back to school, and I was introduced to the YOU program. And truly, this YOU program helped me out so much. Listen, I never thought I would be up here doing something like this, like public speaking. I won second place in the locals, came back, won first place in the states.
That's awesome.
Prepared speaking. And truly, if it wasn't for the YOU program, I probably wouldn't graduate high school.
What specifically, aside from giving you some guidance and mentorship to get back into school, what specifically did this organization offer you? You didn't just finish school.
Yeah.
You're now in an elite class with a skill set that, by the way, is very, very valuable. Because you need that skill set in whatever it is you do. Communicate.
Exactly.
What specifically did they do to get you from where you were to where you are?
Man, they helped me, with communicating with others. So we would go on field trips to different programs, and they would, tell us more about it, and we would ask questions about the place that we're going, and we would do one thing that we did in class was mock interviews, and so they would kind of help us get ready for
job interviews.
Exactly, and so we would do that, and man, those small activities that we did in the classroom helped me out for here today, talking with you guys, and just in life in general.
Impressive young man. Very impressive young man.
When did you figure out like you had a gift for speaking? Obviously, they molded you a little bit, but was there a moment where you were like, "Wow, I'm okay at this"?
I would say the moment where I realized that was when I won second place in the locals. Because just of how amazing the other speakers were. In the YOU program, there's a lot of great public speakers. And when I won second place, I realized that I could do something with this. I could, take it pretty far. So I would always ask my teacher, Miss Newsom at the time. She said, I asked her, I'm like, is there any more opportunities that I could go out and speak?
Wow, that's
awesome. And she found this one for me, and I'm so grateful for her, Miss Newsom.
So
shout out, Miss Newsom.
Are you going to play here today?
I'm going to be with Austin Carr all day. Okay. Hey, listen, I tried golf one day with my friends. I'm not the best at it.
But you get to hang with AC.
Hey, listen, when we all started, we weren't.
Yeah.
There's two skill sets that I always used to tell my son, because my father told this to me, that will benefit you your entire life. Talking and golf.
Yeah.
There you go.
The business world centers around golf, and relationships are built. And so take a little bit of interest in it. It's okay that you're not good. No one's good when they start. I've been playing 45 years. I'm no good.
Wow.
I have one question for you. Where do you go from here? What do you ultimately want to do?
Impact others that were in my shoes. Throughout those 2 years when I missed high school, I was really in low points in my life. Even finishing school, I was in a really low point. So honestly, what I could do, I'm a boxer. I'm an active amateur boxer.
Are you really?
Yes, sir. Yep. And so eventually, I would like to turn professional with it, and just impact the youth as much as possible.
Wow,
I believe
smart and tough.
Yeah.
Don't hit me.
No, I promise you I won't. I promise you. Listen, that's it. But yeah, I really truly feel that my calling is to help out this new generation that's coming up.
Before we let you go, I want you to give a shout out to everybody that's watching this, and we get a pretty good audience here because it's live, but they can also view on demand later.
Yeah.
For those that are watching and that are impressed with everything they're seeing out of you, and you can't watch and not be, what can they do? Is there a website they can go to volunteer? If they got a couple extra bucks, maybe they can donate. How do we get involved so we can help future youths?
I have social medias. They can follow me on social medias and follow along my journey, my boxing journey and my speaking journey. Also, the people to give shout outs to, Miss Newsom. She helped me out so much.
Shout out to Miss Newsom.
Shout out to Miss Newsom.
Yeah.
Yes.
I can tell when you talk about her that she's made a measurable impact on your life.
Yeah.
That's what teachers are for.
Can't be more grateful for her.
Juan, best of luck to you, man.
Thank you so
we
much.
Appreciate it.
You're impressive, young man.
Sir. I appreciate it.
Keep doing it, and good luck with the boxing game.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Thank you so
Take care.
much.
Good luck.
I'll have one of you guys come to one of my fights one day.
Listen, I was just going to say before you go, reach out on one of the social medias, Jay Crawford. Just Google me. Find me on some of those social medias.
Yeah.
Reach out to me. I want to come out with the Channel 3 crew and do a story on you and your career.
Awesome. Sounds
all right?
good.
And then we want to come to one of your fights.
Absolutely. I'll get the win for you guys.
Hey,
keep doing it, man.
Keep following Austin. That's where all the money
right.
goes.
Best of luck.
Right there. That's where the money go.
Wow. That's an impressive young man right there.
There's a success story from their program, and joining us now is Craig Dorn, who is the president and CEO of Youth Opportunities Unlimited. Craig, how you doing? Thank you for joining us.
Throw that on.
That's a great success story there, Juan. He seems to be doing very well at 18 years old.
Way better than I was doing at 18.
Yeah,
he's
absolutely.
so dynamic. He met Tim Alcorn, and he's asking Tim about how he got in his career and everything.
Yeah.
It's really impressive.
How did he do it?
How did he
overcome his fear of speaking publicly? And the life spot that he found himself in is not a favorable one.
Right.
But with a lot of help from your organization and a life raft, here he is. How did that happen?
Yeah, the real key and what we did to help him was to have a coach who stuck with him through thick and thin. And I don't know if he told you the story that he dropped out.
Yeah, he told us. Yeah.
And so, when you drop out, if you don't have someone encouraging you to get back into the game, and so our coach just stuck with him day in, day out. At the end of the day, a lot of it, though, as much as I'd love to give us credit, is all these kids have it in them, and they just need a vehicle and a way to bring it out. So that's 95% him and who he is, and 5% us giving him the opportunity.
And how do you identify the kids? Are you guys doing, I guess a recruiting process, or do you fill in the gaps and you see some people that may be struggling, or do you get referrals from other different organizations as well?
Yeah, it's a little bit of all that. In the program Juan's in, we're in the schools, and the schools identify young people like him, and all the schools we're in, there's dozens, if not hundreds, who could use that little extra boost because of something completely out of their control, their family, their environment. And so the schools schedule him in the class. Some of our other programs, Youth Select, our biggest program, our summer jobs program, we have about 7,000 young people who register online.
How can people help?
There's 3 ways. Great question. One way is a volunteer. You go to our website. We have volunteer opportunities basically 11 out of the 12 months of the year. Come in and meet with kids like Juan and help them with a mock interview or coach them up before their public speaking. That's a very fun way. A second way is, we are a nonprofit, and so no money, no mission. So you can always come in and donate. Any little bit helps, whether it's a small gift or you get your corporation to donate, and we use the money for all the direct services and support our work. And the third is, I don't know if anyone you've talked to talks about, one of our main outcomes is get young people jobs. So if you have a company and you are looking to hire someone, and a lot of people don't realize, high school kids have so much you can do. You'd be blown away. We've had high school kids working in engineering firms and working in hospitals, everything from landscaping, you name it. If you have a company and you have some job openings, give us a call and we'll find you some qualified young people to work.
I think Juan's going to get a call.
Yeah.
Is he in the job market? Is he looking for something?
I know he's focusing on his boxing,
which is
career,
great,
but I'm sure he needs to also work part-time. I don't want to speak for Juan.
Come on. Listen, our viewers come through when
Let's go. Somebody
ask
offer
for their
the kid
help.
a job.
Yeah, give us a call because we have
not
other
just Juan,
Juans.
but others.
Yeah,
yes.
we have other Juans.
One of the things, too, that I know you guys have seen this because you have young kids and you're still a young kid. These younger kids and the skill set they have with this, either social media or the audiovisual end, they can make Spielberg type movies on their phones with music and effects. And that is a skill set that, as we've gone digital and technologically, that is a skill set that these kids are coming sometimes, in some cases, straight from high school into jobs in the real world, marketing companies. It's unbelievable.
Oh, they're way more advanced, and being someone who is a bit older than I think all of you, I mean, I would to this day, I call my son who's in the Navy for
how do
advice.
I? Yeah.
But the other thing, in addition to the tech that a lot of people don't think about, is these kids are, if you're resilient, you've overcome all those things that Juan and all the other young people we serve, you have some problem solving and critical thinking skills that are advanced beyond your years. And when you think about what you really want in a job, you want someone to come in there and solve problems and really roll up their sleeves and work hard. And that's what the young people bring to the table as well.
I think is pertinent. I'm a product of a program called Job Training Partnership Association. And it was when I was younger, they used to take all the kids in from 8th grade up to high school and they used to have us all come in to the city buildings, and we used to fill out applications, and we used to work at the park department.
Yeah.
Some people used to, have different services where they go help the elderly. Some people used to work at different Giant Eagles or different places like that. And I got to work in the clerk of courts, right?
Yeah.
And so you dress up every day, you go to work the whole summer, you earn a paycheck. And I think the biggest thing was it was so proud that you got a check with your name on it. And you go open your bank account. So if you are a business, it is definitely key to help guys and understand, hey, where do I get a job? How do I become gainfully employed? And if you are a business, that's a big part of it. And I appreciate that you guys are connecting those guys with jobs.
Well, I have a fun fact for you. The Job Training Partnership Act, I've been around a while, JTPA, has since changed, and YOU runs the successor program.
How about that?
Yeah, so
I didn't even know that.
Another way,
crazy.
so if you get involved with YOU, you can hire young people like you were when you were a young person.
How about that?
About $2,000 a year.
Yeah,
That's awesome. Incredible.
Thanks, Greg. We appreciate it, man.
Yeah, keep up the great work. Thanks for stopping by.
Thank
you so much.
Real quickly, there's got to be a website that you can throw out there that if people are watching and they want to help.
www.youcle.org.
That's easy enough. youcle.org.
Yeah.
I hope we can help.
Yeah, and don't get us mixed up with the Youth Opportunities Unlimited in Canada. Make sure you have
Yeah, we want to help the Cleveland area.
That's right.
All right, Greg, thanks.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Appreciate
we
you.
appreciate it. I think it is important that we throw that out there to our viewers, that because we have viewers that own businesses and that need help. And I'm sorry, if I had an opportunity to get into the business of 18-year-old Juan, I would do it.
Yeah.
I mean, you can just
Sharp
tell
kid.
from the few minutes we spent with him that he's driven, he's smart, and he's communicative, and he's driven. He wants to be successful.
Right. And there's something to be said for a kid, if you, not that every kid that has it easy is not going to be a hard worker, but you know that a kid that had to go through everything he went through
Good point.
is going to work hard.
Great point.
Yeah,
so. Because they don't want to stay there.
We're going to send it to Earl.
They don't want to
Let's
stay
send it to Earl back in the studio, then we'll come back and talk Travis Bazzana. Oh, we're not ready to go?
No. Sorry, Earl. False alarm on Earl. Earl, you can stand down. Stand down.
You do it, Mike. Come in and do.
Mike's going to do the FanDuel read. There's the. Do you have this memorized?
Yeah.
Let's see if I do.
I mean, you should.
Sports aren't sportsing like you
Guys,
think, right?
you know I love sports. Steve, hit the button, please. Hit the button.
Yeah.
Guys, you know I love sports.
You do.
But right now, sports aren't sportsing like I wanted to, and that
That's
really
true.
puts me in a bummer of a mood. But thanks to FanDuel, I can make sports happen whenever I want on cue because FanDuel is whipping up daily boosts and bonus every day during the summer. That's right. There's something for everyone every day during the summer as long as you're using FanDuel, whether it's the Derby,
you can
whether
bet
it's Major
on
League Baseball
summer league games.
Summer league games, the WNBA. If you can dream up a bet, you can bet it on FanDuel. So make sure you guys tune into FanDuel.com/UCSS to get your daily FanDuel fixes. FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show and the official sportsbook partner of Major League
That's
Baseball.
pretty impressive, Mike.
Grade that, Bull.
That's pretty impressive.
I've given him an A+ on that one.
Yeah, I do
That's
too.
an A+
No
grade.
script, off the top of his head. You know what? I think he emoted a little more because he wasn't tied to the script.
That's right.
He knows that
No
material. He killed it.
Yeah.
And my favorite line is sports just aren't sportsing
No, they're not.
like they're supposed to.
You guys got to give me the new copy. I've been reading the old copy.
Yeah.
I've been Ultimate Browns has been talking about the NBA playoffs.
No, that's not good.
Yeah, I would do that. Boy, but the excitement between NBA playoffs and NBA Summer League.
Yeah.
I mean,
Not a big difference.
No, they're right there.
Right here. Listen, man. Hey, shout out to Jaylon. Listen, Mr. Tyson. I like him too. I like him too.
He's got a new poster boy.
I got a new one. They not listen.
Yeah.
DJ, he's not getting that many minutes.
No. Not yet.
Not yet. But see, Tyson, I like it.
Well, we'll get back to that later, but we got to talk about this draft pick. We started talking about it in Major League Baseball, and then we obviously had all the great guests that we had. But first of all, it's funny because Zach Meisel and I, as I mentioned earlier, we did the Guardian show at 8 o'clock this morning. Go back and watch it if you haven't seen it later. And he said to me, had you ever talked about the baseball draft ever in Cleveland before?
Never.
And I said, not really.
Why would we?
Maybe after the draft, we'd interview like the coach of the player, maybe the first round pick, but certainly we never talked about it before the draft. But with the Guardians having the first overall pick for the first time ever,
which is almost unbelievable.
It's crazy.
Can you tell me why that happened for the people that don't know the draft?
Why they got the first pick, or why they never had it before? Unbelievably, I mean, until a couple of years ago, it went based on record. So as bad as the Indians at the time were from the 60s, the 70s, 70s and the 80s when they sucked all those years into the early 90s, they never had the worst record.
That's the incredible part.
It's amazing.
Because that was my life back then.
They stunk every year.
This is a true story. When I was about 10, I used to wait for the newspaper to come every day so I could look at the box scores, and I would always study the standings. And the deal was that by the 4th of July, the Indians were completely out of contention. That 100%. Was the old American League East days.
Yeah.
You had the Yankees, the Red Sox, the Orioles in that division. At the time, the Orioles were very good.
Yeah.
And literally, it was my love for baseball and to stay involved in July, August, and September. All I wanted them to do was to win 70 games and not finish last place.
Yeah, right.
That was what I was. That was my bar. It was never to be in a pennant race, and they were awful for so many years. But Bull, the amazing part is, they never had the worst record.
Right. And the funny thing is, now the last 2 years they're doing a lottery like they do in other sports, or in basketball, and I think hockey. But the Guardians did not have a good chance. 2%. It was 2%. I think they had the 9th best odds.
Yeah.
And they had, ended up with the top pick. And, there was debate who the top pick was, certainly. I think there were 3 or 4 guys, certainly, in that mix, depending on who you like. But did
they get it right to you?
I think they did.
I said before the draft, my son was in, and we talked about it. Who do you want? I said, we want Bazzana. We want the kid from Oregon State.
I said Bazzana or Condon. I would have been, either one would have been fine.
Yeah.
I think.
Why were you not high on Caglione? Because everybody was.
I think my concern with him is he had a lot of swing and miss.
Yeah. And this guy doesn't.
Oh, my gosh. I don't remember the exact numbers off the top of my head, but I think he had 75 walks and like 50 strikeouts this year.
You're right in the ball. It's 36
like
strikeouts.
Okay, like even less, 70. Right. Yeah.
And the amazing thing is,
that's crazy.
So with guys like Quan, who also went to Oregon State.
Yeah, and they have a good relationship.
They do. They never played there together, and they had different coaches, but they do have a good relationship.
Yeah.
The thing with Quan is he's a high contact guy.
Yeah.
I have to say that I think Bazzana is in the elite contact category. And here's why. There's different metrics that measure that, but the big one is barrel. He's 42% barrel strike.
Right.
That's unheard of. That not only was that best in college, it was best in college by an eye-popping amount. That when you look at who's second, you're like, what's this guy doing?
Yes.
That he's that much better than everybody else.
How was he? And he's a second baseman, but when I watched the draft and I'm watching some of the highlights, he has tremendous power for a guy that is not that big.
He's got a sweet swing.
I mean, when you talk about Condon, he hit a lot of home runs, but Bazzana hit a lot of home runs as well. Like
Bazzana hit 400.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And I mean, obviously he's got a great eye. He's got a great feel for the strike zone. I was texting with my man Mike Farron from MLB Radio, who's a huge college baseball guy, and he said nobody's going to outwork this kid. Nobody.
Wow, that's what you love to hear.
He's a baseball. He loves baseball. Eats, sleep. He already talked about in the interview. They had some technical issues on MLB last night, but he was saying how he wants to be like a beacon for other kids in Australia, and he wants them to learn about baseball. He wants to become big in Australia. He's the first second baseman ever to go first overall,
which is stunning.
First Australian to go first overall, which is not stunning, but because you haven't had a lot of great Australian players. Nielsen, remember Dave Nielsen for the Brewers?
I think he's got the record for the most home runs in the
not a lot.
100?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
The thing that impresses me the most, and you mentioned it, that he's the equivalent to a gym rat. I'd call him a dugout rat.
Yeah.
What I loved most about him was today's game is analytics. I don't care,
100%.
Whether you embrace it fully or you bring part of it into the fold. It's about analytics. This young man is so impressive that he put together a 90-minute presentation.
Wow.
To give to the pitchers at Oregon State.
Yeah.
To tell them, as a hitter who has studied his craft, what pitches guys are going to chase, when they're going to chase them. He has a 13% swing rate at sliders. The reason that's so important is because the slider is a chase pitch. It's a pitch that has obviously changed speeds, but you throw the slider to make it look like it's a fastball coming in one spot. Guys get juicy, they dive at it, and the pitch is away from their swing or sometimes into their swing. To only chase at 13% of the sliders he saw this year might be the most impressive stat around this kid. His plate discipline isn't elite. It's of another world.
Yeah. It's everything about him is positive. He played in the Cape Cod League, which is the best Wood Bat League last summer. He was the MVP of the Cape Cod League. His strikeout
He won the batting title,
yes,
too.
and his strikeout to walk there was he had 18 strikeouts, 18 walks there. So that's Wood Bat, best players in the country,
sure,
all competing there at different ages, different levels. And there's really nothing not to like about him. You never know. Listen, it's a draft. You never know how a guy's going to pan out. But his baseball IQ is through the roof. His instincts are through the roof. He's not his defense. Somebody was telling me his defense is a little behind the offense.
Oh, really?
A little bit. Not that he's bad defensively.
Yeah, I read that he was an above-average defender.
Yeah, but he's not like
not elite.
His offense is almost ready to play in the big leagues.
Sure.
His defense needs a little more. There's a possibility they might move him off second, but I don't think so.
What are we doing?
And I'd like him to stay at second.
No, I don't think they'll move him.
I don't think so either. But
you've got a guy at second base. It's a natural shortstop anyhow.
Right. Jimenez this offseason, they're going to move him to short.
Back to short.
And what I like about this, too, I don't think they did it for this reason. This opens up even more possibilities at the trade deadline in the next 2 weeks because now you don't worry. Like it was always like, who's going to be the shortstop?
Sure.
Well, now it's going to be Jimenez.
Now you know.
This kid's going to be a second baseman at the very latest by summer next year. He's got to. I would think he's in the big league. Now I would start him in Akron. I would not start him in A-ball. I'd start him in Akron.
They haven't said yet, have they?
No, not yet.
Jay came in immediately, and the first thing you said, and this is what we want to talk about. I'm trying to see him. We doing it today?
Well, Jay wants him up in September. I would like to also.
Yeah, when the rosters expand, bring him in.
Yeah.
I think Stephen Vogt, his track record is. Let's take a look. Let's kick the tires.
Now we got to see how he plays in the minors.
I was just going to say that. My caveat is if he goes 171 with no power in the minors, okay, we all jumped the gun. He's not ready. Here's the one thing I liked about him was that he tweeted out, I think Friday night, I hope the Guardians take me number one because I really want to be with them in September and October and help them win a World Series.
I like that.
Now,
I like it.
I loved it and I hated it. I hated it because I'm like, oh, God, don't put that bullseye on your own back. But I loved it because it tells you baseball's all about confidence. Baseball players are some of the most confident people you'll ever meet in any section of life. They are confident. He has it in spades. He's not afraid to do the work. And things could go sideways if he reports to Akron, but he's already proven that whatever level he plays at, and I think I'm glad you brought up the Cape Cod League because the wooden bat transition is the biggest question mark.
Yeah.
The fact that he went to the Cape Cod League and swung the lumber and swung it well tells me that it's not going to be that big of a transition between college game and the professional game. It's rare, and you know this, it's rare that guys are drafted as hitters and make it to the big leagues that year.
Oh,
it doesn't happen.
Almost never happens.
It doesn't happen. Now,
well, you see, Wyatt Langford was drafted last year. He started the season in the big leagues.
He did.
And Paul Skeens has obviously been fantastic. Well, he's a once in a lifetime prospect.
Did you I watched the kid from Wake Forest. There was I think in April I'd asked you, have you seen this kid from Wake Forest?
Yeah.
The pitcher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I watched him, I fell in love with him.
Yeah.
His numbers were they're similar to Paul's. And
he's throwing 100.
But here's what I didn't like about him, and I'm glad the Guardians didn't take him, and I don't know if this factored into their position. He's got a violent delivery. He is violent.
I mean, that's part of it. I think also they were taught there was a little concern about his command also.
Yeah, well, he is a little dicey there.
And he's got more
his average fastball is like 98.
Yeah, I mean, his upside is through the roof. But he's also got a lower floor than Bazzana does.
I was fearful that just watching his violent delivery, it reminded me when I first saw Clevenger, I said, I love this kid. But I don't know how much he's got in his tank because usually when you throw his release point, it's very explosive and a lot of
pitching injuries are just so prevalent now.
Yeah, so I love this pick all the way around. I dream. Can you imagine having two Oregon State guys at 1-2 in your lineup? Yeah. So and then you go Hosey and Naylor.
Right.
Like that is a core four at the top of a lineup that
could be special.
That's how you start thinking World Series contender every year if you can keep them together.
And I was just going to ask, is he a natural two-hole hitter? Or, do you see him moving into the three? Or how does that shift as is his numbers and his power as he grows into his body?
Probably more of a 3 or 4.
I mean, it could be.
I don't know if he'll be that here.
Right. I think, they need a two-hitter desperately.
They do.
And I don't know if he's going to be right away, but because of his ability to get on base, not just hit, but get on base.
His hitting line was absolutely incredible.
Yeah, I mean, think about now again, is it going to translate right away to the majors? But in theory, if he takes what he's done at Oregon State and you have Quan and him getting on base like they've been able to ahead of Jose and Naylor, like you're going to have a crazy amount of RBI opportunities.
Here's the one thing I have to constantly remind myself, and I pump my brakes, and I'm not trying to offset my argument that we'll see him in September.
Yeah.
What I'm saying, it will make sense when you hear it. When you see these guys feasting on college pitching,
sure.
1 out of every 12 or 15 guys they face is big league or professional quality pitching. Not big league quality, is professional caliber pitching. You're supposed to feast on that.
That's right. Yeah.
The reason that pitchers can get to the bigs, it's like skills players in the NFL. A wide receiver and a running back can have an immediate impact because what they do translates.
Sure.
The pitching translates. If you get guys out, you get guys out. The big fear with Bazzana is he hasn't seen elite pitching every day.
No, especially in the Pac-12. Especially in the Pac-12. It's not as good a conference as the SEC.
It's not like the SEC or ACC.
You know, so, but I think what he does translates, but until he does it consistently, and that's why obviously he's going to spend some time in the minors.
There'll be a learning curve.
Yeah, absolutely. But, I mean, it's an exciting pick. There was not a clear number one.
No.
And Condon, for whatever it's worth, I'm not saying it's going to go, it means he's not going to be good. He did struggle in the Wooden Bat League last summer. Bazzana was better in the Wooden Bat League, and that matters. And you got, I think there's a higher percentage of better pitchers that you're facing.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
Right?
Those guys are all major. They're prospects.
Exactly.
You might play in the Pac-12, and 3 out of every 4 or 5 pitchers you face might be in their last stage of their career.
Right, and they're good pitchers, but not major league
next
good.
level. The one other thing I want to talk to you about, Caglione. I saw the Royals got him, I think, at 5. 6.
Yeah.
They're going to use him as a pitcher, too.
Oh, they did say that?
Yeah,
I hadn't heard that.
They're going to use him as a pitcher as well.
We talked to your guy, I forget, last week. He talked about the reason he didn't know if they're going to use him as a pitcher because he threw a lot of balls out of the side of the strike zone.
Yeah.
And command was an issue.
You can work on you can fix that.
He's throwing 90 plus. I'm like, listen,
he's
guy
throwing 99.
He's a hard thrower.
You know what? 90 plus doesn't really matter anymore. It's 95 plus.
You're right. No, 95 is the new 90.
Yes.
And 100 is the new 95.
Yes. 100%.
I'm not sure if you guys mentioned this about Bazzana, but just one more thing. They showed it on the broadcast last night. The list of hitters that have come through Oregon State's program is incredible. Just
very
the last
impressive.
couple of years.
Yeah.
Stephen Kwan and Adley Rutschman, who was the number 1 overall pick 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Bazzana has more hits than any of them and more homers than any of them.
He has the new record.
Yeah.
In both hits and home runs from a second base position, which, you don't think of a second baseman being a superpower hitter.
No.
And we'll see how it translates to the pros.
Look, if he
has more home runs than Rutschman did, who was the Golden Spikes winner, I mean, that dude reset the record book at Oregon.
Well, he could be.
And I did it again.
And by the way, he's got good speed, not elite speed, but he's got such good instincts that he's a really good base stealer.
Yep.
And so I could see him quickly being a 2020 guy.
Have you seen his style at stealing bases with the running lead?
I love it.
I love it too.
Love that.
First of all, I love the story about. I was talking to Jim Bowden, the old general manager of the Reds and the Nats.
Yeah.
He actually placed a phone call to a guy in his conference that he saw doing that. He found his number and he called him. He's like, okay, I got to talk to you about this.
Wow.
And the player shared the information with him, which I love because they're in the same conference.
Yeah, sure.
Usually the kid was probably so stunned.
Yeah.
Wow, wait, who are you and where do you play? Okay, well, here's what I do. And so he told him, I can't believe more guys don't do it.
I know.
It's a
you got to have good instincts,
You do. If your instincts are wrong, you're at a huge disadvantage.
Right.
But if your instincts are, first of all, the reason I love it, you're throwing another mental element into the pitcher's head.
Absolutely.
And anytime as a pitcher, anytime you can get something mental in a pitcher's head,
you're
on your way to victory. So I think we might see, I hope he tries that with the Guardians if he gets the opportunity. Now, I don't know what their stance is on it.
Guardians be having him. We'll bring that back.
They may, but they may say, here, flirt around with it in Akron.
Yeah.
If you have success with it, until it's proven to put you at a disadvantage, let's try it. And it could be one of those things that changes the game at the big league level. Who knows?
No doubt. It's exciting. It's
fun.
Another fun thing to watch. The Guardians are already a fun team. All right, now we got to get some trades. Pitchers. Operation Stockpile, G. Bush. 2 pitchers, 1 more hitter. Let's go. Go ahead.
Let me do a game time read, then we can talk about the Guardians.
Okay.
And once again, off the dome, so feel free to grade me, and I hope I do a good job.
We're watching.
Time. So, if you're looking to get a ticket to an upcoming Guardians game out of the All-Star break, you bet in Game Time, which takes all the guesswork out of buying tickets online. It is the easiest. It is the most simple, and they have simplified it so much that even a guy who sucks on his phone like Jay Crawford can figure out how to navigate the Game Time app and purchase tickets when Corey and his girl come back to town. Game Time, they give you views from the seat. You get your all-in prices, so there's no added-on bonuses or taxes at the end. And their Game Time ticket coverage guarantee makes sure that if you find a cheaper ticket online, they'll refund you 110% of the difference, so you can make sure you get the best prices to get to a Guardians game or a concert or a Browns game or a Cavs game. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets online just by downloading the Game Time app. Use promo code LOCKEDONNFL, and we'll see you at a Guardians game in the near future.
1 to 10,
another
that's a
A+.
1. No, 1 to 10, that's a 1. He took a shot.
He took a shot at you.
He took a shot.
I had to. All right,
Without the shot, it was a 10.
Well, I'm going to take the headset off, but I'll set this up for you guys.
Okay. Yeah.
2-5 in the last 7 games for the Guards. Before the break, they lost their 2 series to Detroit and Tampa Bay. Time to panic, or just a rough stretch in the schedule that's to be expected for a season that's 100.
I definitely don't think it's time to panic, but the bad stretch is really longer than that. It's been about 17 games that I think they've lost 10 of 17, like that.
Yeah.
They're not playing particularly good baseball right now. The offense this last week on the road, outside of that game they won,
the 2 home runs Saturday.
Yeah,
but
I'm saying for the last week, that whole road trip between Detroit and Tampa, they won that one game 9-8 or 10-9. I can't remember the final score. Besides that, they didn't hit really the entire last week.
They were shut out a couple times.
Yeah, 3 shutouts in the final 7 games. So we knew the offense couldn't keep up quite that pace.
Right.
It's regret. The good news is the Orioles have struggled. The Yankees have struggled. They still have the best record in the American League at the All-Star break, almost 100 games in. So am I disappointed how they play lately? Sure. Am I panicked? No, I'm not panicked.
Yeah, I'm not panicked either. I had said when we talked about this in May when they were overachieving, they're going to hit a stretch.
Sure.
Get ready for it. They're going to hit a stretch where they're going to lose. They'll have a sub 500 record for 3 weeks. That's exactly where they are now. Here's the beauty of what's happening. You know and I know it couldn't happen at a better time. Gee, they're getting ready to go into the All-Star break. They can hit reboot. They can, first of all, the break mentally and physically is so much needed. They can reboot. They can get their minds together. They can come back after the All-Star break and put all of this behind them. Stephen Vogt's message should be this. Yeah, we've played poorly the last 20 games, 17 games. The good news is we still have the best record in the American League. And if I would have told every person in this clubhouse that we'd have a 4.5 game lead in the American League Central at the break, every one of you would have taken it. Bulk erase the last 2 weeks, and let's go kick some ass.
And by the way, I'll throw this caveat on it. I'm impressed that they got the 4.5 lead. Plus, you've seen a ton of guys. Martinez, I like what I'm seeing out of him.
I do too.
He was walking before. It seems like he's a guy that can put the ball in play. You know, if you get the chance to see a lot of these guys, it looks like you're going to have an opportunity to put a lot of these guys on the market and try to get somebody. And if you look at the sticks and the bats, that's even more of a reason I want to see the kid from Oregon State, because they got an opportunity to put somebody in that place to get it done, because they have to hit. To me, they have to hit at that high level that they've been hitting to be successful in the playoffs, because the pitching isn't that.
Here's a couple interesting things. The Guardians have the best home record in the majors.
Yeah.
They're 30-11 at home. What that also means is they haven't played a ton of home games.
No.
They actually, if you look at their they have 67 games left. 40 at home, only 27 on the road. That's nice. It the rest of the season. In fact, they end the year, I want to say 13 of their last 15 at home, or 12 of 14, something like that. It's like they have 2 series at home, a 2-game road trip to St. Louis, or maybe 3 games, and then another two team homestand.
Good.
Their schedule is very tough. In late July, August, they are playing the Phillies, they're playing the Orioles, but they're competitive. They are as good. I believe this team is a World Series contender, and I believe if they make additions, at least 1 hitter and at least 1 starter, hopefully 2 starters, but if they make those additions, I think they are a bona fide World Series contender.
I agree.
This team can win it. Nobody's clearly better except for Philly. Philly in the National League is clearly the best team right now, but in the American League, the Orioles got their issues, the Yankees got their issues.
The Yankees are falling apart.
This is the year to go all in. They have to go all in right now.
One thing, I hate to go back to Bazzana, one thing we didn't say during the discussion, and I saw this talked about a little bit yesterday, The ball is flying out to right field now more than ever because of the Reno. It doesn't hurt that the kid is a power-hitting left-handed hitter.
No doubt.
Where there seems to be a jet stream carrying the ball to right field.
I'm starting to feel like Earl. They might want to go ahead and change that dog. Can we go ahead and halt that in right field? Let that just ride? Because like right now, like the ball is flying out that way. Yep. And I do want to ask, do you think it's pertinent? Do you think it's important that the Guardians have number 1 overall seed in the playoffs? Do you feel they need home field advantage? Or
absolutely. I think listen, we all understand that it's not as big a deal in baseball as it is in the other sports. We understand that. But there's something to be said, for the fact that they have kicked ass at home this year. Yeah. And assuming that continues in the second half, you're going to want to be at home. Number 2, you want last licks. Mm-hmm. It is an advantage to have last licks, And number 3, this is a big one. If you play in the Yankees, I want nothing, and I don't want to be playing a Yankee Stadium in a deciding game.
I don't.
Well,
there's something about that stadium I don't want anything to do with. I don't want to go anywhere near it.
Yeah, you'd rather have it. Yeah, but we talked about this last year after the Rangers made their run to the World Series.
Yeah,
they have the words ROAD on their World Series ring. It spells road, but here's why that's important. They beat the Rays, the Orioles, the Astros, and the Diamondbacks, ROAD.
Yeah.
I believe they were 11-0 on the road in the playoffs.
That's
now, that
crazy.
is never going to happen again.
Never.
That's crazy.
That is one of the most mind-blowing stats I have ever heard about postseason baseball.
Yeah.
To go 11-0. But as we learned in 2016, and as you celebrated, it doesn't mean that you're going to win the World Series, even if it goes to 7 and 7 is in your house.
Right.
It doesn't ensure victory. But to your question, of course, you'd much rather play more games at home than on the road.
Yeah, and they've been particularly good. They've hit for way more power at home. They've just been a way better team at home. Not that they've been bad on the road. They've been fine. Well, but they've been way better at home.
They're about 500 on the road.
Yeah, but that's not bad. I mean,
no, if you can. Here's the method to make the playoffs is win 2/3 of your games at home and win half of them on the road.
Right.
If you do that, you're going to postseason baseball, and that's exactly what the Guardians have done. They've actually exceeded 2 out of 3 at home. When you talk about 30-11, that's I don't know that they can continue to win at home at that rate.
That's a crazy.
That's hard to keep up over 162 or 81 at home.
Yeah.
But hell, if
they need some reinforcement. I love that David Fry made the All-Star game. I kind of wish he was off this week. He could use a breather.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying.
He could use a breather because he's struggling. Yeah. He is really struggling.
It almost seems like they're all hit that slump at the same time.
Yeah.
The good news about that is they all should come out of it at the same time.
Hopefully, yeah. Homestand right after the break.
Who do they start with?
I can't remember off the top of my head.
I can't.
Have it here.
I think it's a. Oh, it's San Diego.
They got two series at home, San Diego, and then I think the White Sox maybe.
Okay.
I can't remember off the top of my head.
They can get healthy off the White Sox.
Yeah. Well, they should, but White Sox have played well against them.
Yeah, they played
for whatever reason. The Guardians have played better against better teams.
Hopefully by then, they'll be without one of their pitchers that's beaten us twice, and he'll be on our roster.
That's true.
I don't know that they would do it. When do you want to see the moves made? I meant to ask you that last week. Do you wait until the end, or do you like to maybe strike early before everybody else gets in on it?
It's a catch-22 because the closer you get to the end, the less leverage that the selling teams have. Because now, if you don't trade the guy, well, you can't trade him.
You're right.
But if you get him early, maybe you get 1 or 2 more starts, that may make a difference. And right now, my biggest concern with the Guardians is the overuse of the bullpen.
Oh, me too.
Right? And so the sooner I can get these pitchers to help now, it's been big that Gavin Williams, after struggling his first start, his last 2 starts have been really good.
Much better.
And Ben Lively bounced back yesterday. I thought he pitched pretty well. After the last start, he was terrible.
Well enough to win.
Yeah.
But it's like, I need Gavin Williams and Bybee to be good at the same time. Can we get them to line up?
Bybee will be all right. I know he's been in a little, I like that he gave up I don't like that he gave up 4 runs in 3 innings, but the fact that he was able to get through 7 and he pitched well those last 4 innings, I bet he pitches really well after the break. It's a young team. They needed a breather. Hopefully they'll be all right after the break.
Give me your wish list. Mine's Fetty. I think I said that last week. Who's on your wish list?
I mean, my realistic? Because my wish list is Tarek Skubal from the Tigers.
Yeah, okay. I want a pony for Christmas too, but I'm realistic. Like, realistically, who can they go out there and on your wish list bring in?
I'm fine with Fetty. I like him.
Yeah.
He would be a good choice.
Is Bichette on there?
So Bichette is, but I'll tell you.
He's on mine too.
That's a guy I've had my eye on for a while now, and he's having a great season. Because I think the Cubs should sell. I don't know if they're going to because they played better the last week.
What are they out?
they're 3 games out of a wild card, but they're behind like 7 teams.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do. I want them to sell. I think Jameson Tyone, big, strong pitcher.
Last week.
He's having a great season for the Cubs. And he's having a great season on a team that's not hitting,
Now,
not doing well.
Will he be the most sought-after guy?
I do think it's possible, not likely to the Guardians, but I think there's like a 5% chance that the Tigers will trade Tarek Skubal. If that's the I know it sounds crazy, but they could get such a haul for him, and they might not be competitive the next couple of years, that they might do
it. I feel like they're going this way, not this way.
I don't know. Their top pick, Spencer Torkelson's gone back to the minors. Casey Mize looks like just a back-end starter. I don't know. He's a long shot. It probably won't be traded. I think Kyle Gibson of the Cardinals is very interesting if they trade him. Another guy on the Tigers, Jack Flaherty. I mean, he's had a tremendous bounce-back season.
Yes.
The White Sox have Garrett Crochet as well. Mm-hmm. The Blue Jays pitchers, you got Barrios probably won't get traded because he's making a ton of money for a lot of years. But they've got Chris Bassett, who's from Ohio. I don't know if that matters, but good veteran pitcher. You got Yusei Kikuchi from the Blue Jays.
You've liked him for a while now.
Yes. Cal Quantrill from the Rockies has pitched decently. Kyle Freeland from the Rockies is an interesting guy.
Let's zone in on Cal for a second.
He struggled his last couple of starts, though. He's come back to earth.
Yeah, he's been a hot and cold guy. We saw that here.
But he's a guy I would only want if he's the second pitcher you get.
Sure. Okay.
Like if you
can't be the move that
No.
Yeah.
They got to get a legitimate top 3 star. Doesn't be an ace, right? Because an ace might not even be possible. But you got to get a guy who I'm pitching in one of the 3 games, one of the top first 3 games of the playoffs. Absolutely.
The fact that they're where they are. And Ben Lively and Carlos Carrasco have been in the starting rotation the entire season is a mind blow.
And Lively's been great for the most part. Carrasco's been very competitive, more than I thought. But I don't want him pitching in the playoffs.
Well, he can't. I mean, it seems like every time he goes out, he gets up 5. And what's crazy is it's usually about 2 or 3 hitters that do the work. You know, he gives up a 3-run shot. He pitches great. Then he makes one mistake or a guy gets a hold of one. It's over.
If you got to pick one, McKenzie, Carrasco, or Allen, if you had to pitch, which one you pitch in the playoff?
I'll go with McKenzie just because he's got the best stuff.
I don't want any of them as of right now. I wouldn't want any of them in the playoffs. But if I had to choose McKenzie, I agree with you. His best stuff by far. Yeah.
I'll fix those from falling on you guys in a second.
That's all right.
We have we talked some guards.
Yeah.
We're going to talk Browns. We're going to start with some Cavs after a quick reminder that FanDuel is the official sportsbook partner of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. And guys, as the season winds down, we get fewer and fewer games. And I love sports so much that when the sports aren't sportsing like I want them to, I go into a mini hibernation. But the sports don't stop thanks to FanDuel because they keep the games going whenever I want. All I have to do is open up the app and dream up bets anytime I'm in the mood. And this summer, only this summer, FanDuel's hooking up all customers with a boost or bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone every day all summer long. So head over to FanDuel.com/UCSS and start making the most out of your summer. FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball and the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show.
Quick correction, Mike. The Guardians after the Padres play the Tigers, not the White Sox.
Tigers. I knew it was an AL Central opponent.
Good. We get some revenge on them.
Hopefully, yeah.
G, I'm going to start with you on this one because it is your guy. It is Emoni Bates, Luke Travers, Jaylon Tyson, Craig Porter Jr., and DJ Burns. They got smoked in their Summer League debut against Orlando, and then they smoked the Milwaukee Bucks in their rebound performance. G, what have you liked so far from your guy, Emoni Bates? And then we'll talk about the rest of the guys who have made an early impression on this Cavs Summer League squad.
Well, the first game, I just didn't like the overall intensity they came out with. Like, obviously a Summer League, but Craig Porter Jr. is a guy who I'm looking to take backup minutes. And a guy that's going to he received minutes at the big league level. So it's like, for me, I thought that was on him for to have the guys out there with a different type of mindset and being ready to go. But the second game, I think that, Emoni Bates was he showed you something that a lot of people hadn't seen so far. And, people will say, we've seen him score the basketball. The first game he scored 20 points. Wasn't his most efficient work. Second game, I thought he was much more measured. I thought he had the ability to show his playmaking ability. He's not a guy who's shown the passing ability through a nice three-quarter court bounce pass for a dunk. He had a couple plays where late in the shot clock finds some guys cutting to the basket.
I did like that.
Mm-hmm.
I did like that.
Late finding guys.
Because that hasn't been his strong point.
Has not been part of his strong point. You can see the fact that he has gotten bigger. And
has he?
Yeah, about 20. Oh, he about 26. You can see it in his upper body.
26 pounds.
20. He's
supposedly.
He's bigger.
Wow, guys, I got to tell you, I'm going to be. I mean,
I
he
didn't
was wearing
notice
a
it.
backpack with lead
Yeah.
weights in it. To me,
Yeah.
there's no way he's 26 pounds bigger. To me, I thought he looked pretty much the same.
I thought. Listen, I thought 20.
20 pounds on a frame like that, you notice.
You got to think he's very. The thing about Emoni Bates is there hasn't been a lot of film on him. We didn't see him all that much in the NBA. We didn't see it all that much in the G League. There's some stuff in the G League, 5-6 games, but I thought he was markedly bigger in terms of his force. And so the thing with me is, it's about evolution and expanding your game, right? Doing some different things, handling the ball, playing better defense, things like that. That'll get you on the court. I thought he did some other things. A couple were rebounds. All rebounds are created equally, but I thought it was a much better, more efficient game from Emoni Bates, and I like what Jaylon Tyson brought to the table as well.
What did you think?
He didn't look physically much different to me. I didn't notice much of a difference. I mean, I thought he played a good game yesterday. You know how I feel about summer league. I don't read much into it. I told G I'm willing to give Bates an opportunity, and if they don't make any significant changes to the roster, which they may not at this point, outside of deep bench, maybe he will have an opportunity. If the guy plays well enough, he gets an opportunity. We'll see. I just think it's so hard to take anything in summer league and translate it to what it's going to mean in the NBA. It's so hard.
I agree. I think summer league is a lose-lose situation for guys like him, and here's why. If he goes out and scores 35, it's the summer league.
Right, yeah.
If he goes 4 for 16 in 2 games from three-point range, which he has, it's summer league. So I'm not going to read too much into it. However, to me, the beacon, the flashing red beacon is he was 2 of 8 and 2 of 8 from three-point range. This is a guy who I keep being told he's a shooter.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't see it. And I want to see it. To me, a shooter in a summer league is knocking down 45% of his threes. There's more opportunity. There's more times for open shots. He's 2 of 8, 2 of 8. Mm-hmm. And that, to me, G, for him to get on the NBA roster, he needs to be 5 of 8, 4 of 8.
Well, here's what
it might come back. It might turn around that way, but right now I'm not seeing it.
Here's what I will say about this. Listen, when one of the things that I've seen him do much better is the catch and shoot. The catch and shoot, I thought the release looks a lot better. I think the release is quicker. And the thing about, this is a make or miss league. Sometimes you're going to make it, sometimes you're going to miss. I saw Sam Merrill miss the whole second half of the season, but he was hot in the first half. And the thing about Emoni Bates is what we got to understand. Until you get the opportunity to play with guys that are bona fide NBA players, right, around you, not G League guys, that's when you'll be able to evaluate his game.
Well, the problem with that, G, is he'll also then be facing elite NBA defenders.
There it is.
Which he's not seeing now.
And so here's the thing. You want to earn the right? Just the same way with baseball. You can do that in college. You could do that, but you got to go to the minor leagues and you step up in quality. So now you got to hit pitching down in the minor leagues. The same with Emoni Bates. He scored 18 last game. He scored 20 the first game. The way he scores the basketball, the way he can get it, he could do that. But here's where we go. Can you now play in the framework of now Donovan Mitchell has the ball in your hand? You ain't gonna have it.
No, that's a good point.
Darius Garland, he gonna have the ball.
How do you fit into that offense?
Now you got to understand, like, okay, well, Emoni Bates ain't gonna have the ball dribbling 6 times. Now it's, hey, how do I move, space myself, spot off of relocation, and then you do have to knock down those jumpers.
That's a great point.
He's going to be gauged upon that. Right now, it's kind of it's a little bit. I'll give you like the example, Evan Mobley. We want Evan Mobley to be this guy that's getting 30 points a game or 25. But guess what? When he's on the court, he doesn't have the ball.
Right.
If you want him to be that, you have to give him the opportunity to show
and that takes away opportunity from the guys that you know are going to fill it up.
So I also didn't think, speaking of which, when Austin Carr was here, I didn't get the sense he thought that he was confident in the shooting, when he's being defended.
No, he was pretty clear on it. He said when he's open, he can make shots. He's proven that. But I don't know when he gets hands in his face that he's ever going to be the guy we want him to be. Yeah. It was a good pickup on you because I thought the same thing.
It feels like, unfortunately, that the Cavs are stuck in this spot where they're good, probably not good enough to win a championship, But
no, they're not. There's still a missing link.
It's just it's going to be
and that's
it's going to be hard to find that missing link.
And that's the part. A lot of people say, well, listen, you're just high on Emoni Bates per se. No, the reason I go so hard at it is because the Cavs are in a unique situation. They don't have the assets. They don't have the flexibility. So instead of you sitting here, we can all complain about they not having assets and flexibility. You have to turn yourself into a team or organization that does kind of like the Guardians. We know the way we have to get talent. And to do that, we got to develop. If you got Jaylon Tyson and you draft him, you have to give those guys an opportunity. I would rather you give those opportunities to them over the guys you already got.
Sure.
Because Tyson could be higher.
Right. And Tyson as a first-round pick will have a better opportunity. I think with the new coaching staff, maybe Bates gets an opportunity, but if he doesn't, it's because they don't think he's good enough, ultimately.
Yeah, he has to show it, and that's the great thing about coaching, right?
Yeah.
You may be on a roster, and every time you get a new coach, it's a new perspective, right?
Yeah.
A coach may not like your skill set, but another coach may like where you at. He gets an opportunity to show what he can do in front of a new coach and in front of a guy who does develop players. I will say this, opportunity is usually the biggest key between somebody really making it and somebody that just falls through the cracks. You got to get an opportunity.
But to Bull's point, sometimes guys don't get opportunity because when they do have coaching staff's eyeballs on them, they just don't show and flash the things that they think even warrants an opportunity.
This is his chance now with a new coach to show it.
I agree with that. Yeah. I don't want to be disrespectful here. I don't, because I'm rooting for Emoni Bates. I think he's a great story. And I do think there is a world where he can be a contributor. But this is going to sound disrespectful. I get an and one vibe when I watch him. Am I wrong?
That he's more of a street player than an NBA player.
That he's more of a street player, and he's the guy that if you go to a pickup game at a city park somewhere, he's the guy that's going to flash and be like, oh my God, the guy's athletic, he's a playmaker, he's a scorer. But when you put him in the confines of a system where there are role fills that we need, I don't know that he's ever going to be as good. And to me, there's an and one feel to him, and I hope I'm wrong, and I do not mean to be disrespectful.
I will say this. Listen, if you need a couple dudes that can get you buckets. See, there's a misconception that you got a bunch of role guys and they can do it. I've seen the Ty Jeromes of the world. I've seen the George Niangs of the world, Max Strus of the world. Those guys do fill roles as well, but you can't have a whole team full of them. You can't have the Dean Wades like that. You do need a guy that is a Jamal Crawford that can come in and give you 12.
Right. But is he capable of that?
If he became that, I'd
that'd be great.
Be thrilled if he became Jamal Crawford.
You got to have a couple of guys that give you some flair and give you something that can. Because here's the thing: when the Cavs had all the chips down and they needed 2 or 3 dudes to get them some points when their main stars was out, we were looking around.
We were, but I don't know that Emoni's
Yeah.
the guy. Mike, I know you're not on headset. If you could throw it on real quick,
yeah.
I want your reaction to my and one
there you go. You're
comment. Am I completely in another world by making that comment?
No, we said it before. Emoni, when he was drafted and everything we've seen from Emoni, he's more of a hooper than a basketball player right now. And if you know, you know. And if you don't, I guess calling it and one is a close enough comparison.
To me, it sounds disrespectful, but I always respected that.
Yeah, I mean, there have been good NBA
skill set for that.
There have been good NBA players who are hoopers. Jamal Crawford, I heard you mention. Lou Williams.
You're right. Yeah.
They're all within the same mold. I heard you mention earlier with Emoni Bates. I forget who said this, but I heard this over the weekend. Emoni Bates on the Cavs' current NBA roster needs to be a role player. But his game doesn't necessarily have role player game to it, and that's the question.
It's the conundrum.
And how do you figure out, okay, this guy might be more talented than what your traditional role player brings to the table, but does his talent and his skill set fit into what the Cavs need from that extra guy in the court alongside Donovan and Darius and Evan and Jarrett?
Because, Mike, if you're not a role player, you're a star.
Or you're not playing.
Or you're at least like a regular contributor that needs to be there every night.
Yes.
Role players can take nights off. Role players do one thing that's niche, and you need that. And so let's go call up Max Strus. And he's got one thing that he's great at, particularly if he's used properly. I'm not sure how Emoni Bates, and I think that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to figure out what kind of peg is he and what kind of hole are they trying to fit him in.
And I will say the first Summer League game, there was nothing positive to take out of anyone's performance.
No.
They got smoked on Sunday. Everyone played well. And the Cavs are clearly putting the ball in Emoni Bates' hands in Summer League to see, okay, we're going to run pick and rolls for you. We're going to run some action. How do you do? And how's your vision? And I thought G mentioned it. He made a couple really nice passes in yesterday's game.
Yeah, I did. I thought
that
so
stood
too.
out. And it's Summer League. Just like I'm not going to crush him for playing not that great in the first game, just like everyone else did. It doesn't quantify like, oh my God, he's ready right now because he played well.
Sure.
The guy who popped off the screen to me was Luke Travers.
Really? I thought he played well too.
He fits. And I'm not sure if it translates when the athleticism takes a massive jump from Summer League to NBA level, and that's the real question. But he's the ultimate connector who just is kind of in the right spot at the right time and always seems to make the right basketball play.
That's what you want.
Which for the Cavs, when they have the core four already,
that's what you need.
That's more of the piece that like that makes sense with the other guys they have. If you're really, really focused on, okay, this is the core four. This is how we enhance it. A guy like Luke Travers helps bring everyone together more than a guy like Emoni Bates right now. It doesn't mean he can't get there. And Emoni Bates has a higher ceiling than Luke Travers, but based on their current play style right now, he's the guy I could see being a more seamless slide into the actual rotation.
I like the fact that Pete Nance seems to be knocking down the jumper a little more. He's made a couple of threes. I think we didn't talk about Jaylon Tyson enough. Like he's
been good too.
He's a guy that has a NBA body, and I like how he moves on the floor. I like how he moves on the floor. He just seems to be in the right place. He's physical. He's knocked down some different, some threes.
He looks big too, by the way.
He's big. So, listen, you're going to get an opportunity. It's all about working on your areas of opportunity. It's not about doing what you do best. In Summer League, you got to work on the areas that you have not been working on. And I think I want to see more playmaking. I want to see more efficiency. Others with Emoni Bates and some of the younger guys.
Zaire Smith printed a poster.
Ooh,
that was nasty.
Mike was on the phone with me when that happened, and he started screaming, and I thought he was getting mugged or something. I was like, what is happening here?
It was scream-worthy.
It was the dunk of the Summer League so far. It might end up being the dunk of the Summer League.
I think it will end up being the dunk of the Summer League, yeah.
Before we switch gears, we just got this note from Steve Becker, Oregon State head baseball coach.
Bless you.
Hank Hager.
Thank you.
Or Mitch
Canham.
Mitch Canham
is going to be on with us tomorrow at noon.
Awesome.
Yep.
Yeah.
Good.
So we'll get inside scoop on the Guardians' newest player.
Exactly. And I believe he coached Stephen Kwan, too.
No, he did not.
He was not the coach?
No, he was not. He was still playing professionally in the independent leagues in like 15, I want to say, or maybe 14. And then
so it must be a recent change. He's only been there a couple of years now.
I think 19 he came. And Quan was gone just a couple years before that. I think 17 was Quan's last year at Oregon State. But you know what? I'll guarantee you he can talk at length about Stephen Kwan because being an alum, because he played at Oregon State.
Sure.
He has a relationship with Stephen Kwan. Yeah. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot of comparisons between the two because they came through the same program. He's a good get. He's a good guy to have on our program, to talk about Bazzana, but also just to talk a little bit about Stephen Kwan's game and his emergence as a star.
2019 was his first year as a head coach.
Yeah. So he'll join us tomorrow, so don't miss that tomorrow
at noon. Do you guys want to talk Browns or do you want to talk Jalen Brunson? I'll give you a choice. We got 15 minutes to wrap up.
Let's talk Browns.
Browns. All right, well, let me do a game time read, and then we'll talk a little Browns. Mount Rushmore. If you're looking to get tickets online to a concert, to a game, to a Cavs game, to a Browns game, there's no easier or better place online to buy those tickets than with the Game Time app. It takes all the guesswork out of getting your tickets. Just download the Game Time app, and in the Game Time app, it shows you everything from the view to your seat to the total price you'll pay at the end. You can get flash deals. They have zone deals. They have everything you could possibly want from an online ticket buying marketplace. It's also an official ticket market buying place of Major League Baseball and the NBA. So take the guesswork out of buying your tickets online with the Game Time app. Just download the app, enter promo code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Once again, download the Game Time app. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time.
10.
And 10. Then, that was
like that.
Yeah, no shots at Jay. Yeah, only one per show.
Yeah, well done.
Thank you. Let's talk a little Browns. NFL Legacies released their Mount Rushmore for each team over the weekend. And for the Browns, the Mount Rushmore was Jim Brown, Otto Graham, Joe Thomas, and Lou Groza.
The
toe. I'm curious, in your guys' opinion, is that the right four to be on an all-time Cleveland Browns Mount Rushmore? And if it is, the guys who just missed the cut,
remix
how
that.
Close
you
to
say
them?
You said what?
Jim Brown, Joe Thomas, Otto Graham, and Lou
The toe Groza.
Groza. I'm gonna say Lou. You guys say the toe.
There you
and
go.
Groza. Those are the 4 they put on. Gee, is that the right 4? And if whoever was 5, 6, whatever, and that's not in any order, by the way. That was
Isn't that
just the 4 they put
sad,
on.
by the way, that none of outside of Joe, that none of those
Yes.
guys have played in 50 years?
What we would call the modern era.
Yeah, right.
The Super Bowl
So
era.
how close could someone else be
Yeah.
to that? And I'm gonna take this off and let you guys
Okay.
discuss.
Myles Garrett is holding a living place holder right
He's
now.
breathing down Lou the toe Groza's
He's
neck.
Lou's on the way out.
Hey, the toe. No, the foot.
Toe and all.
Hey, Myles Garrett is really breathing down your neck. I'm not gonna give it to him yet because it's disrespectful. You are a Hall of Famer. But as soon as Myles Garrett decides to say he's not playing anymore, he's in a Rushmore. The rest of them's cool.
I want to frame this properly so
there's
the
no
old
disrespect.
crowd doesn't get mad at me.
Yes.
Right, sure.
And the young crowd doesn't accuse me of being absolutely tone deaf. It is right
Yeah, sure.
because the Browns' history, you can't tell the Browns' history without Otto Graham and without Lou Groza. You just can't.
Yeah.
Right.
That is the heyday of this organization. Now, it's different from talking about the Yankees. The 27 Yankees, widely regarded to be one of the great teams of all time. I mean, when you have Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig hitting back-to-back, it should be. But with the Yankees, they have other areas of success,
Sure.
of great success. The
Yes.
50s, the 80s, or the 70s, the
late 90s.
the late 90s
Yeah.
and into the 2000s. With the Browns, unfortunately, that was the only era of success. What I would say is if I want to do a Super Bowl era Mount Rushmore.
Yes.
And
Let's
I know
do it.
that would be an asterisk, but I've got Ozzie Newsome on there and I've got Myles Garrett on there.
Yes.
And
Clay Matthews Jr.?
no, not on my
Okay.
top 4. But I think that Myles Garrett, we all agree on this, he's going to get a gold jacket.
Yes.
Ozzie has his gold jacket.
Yes.
Joe Thomas.
So
Joe
and Joe
obviously
Thomas,
on there.
of course, has
That's
his.
3. So I got you.
So who's the 4th?
Well, you got to go with Jim Brown. I'm not taking Jim Brown off at all.
Okay.
Jim Brown is the centerpiece to my Mount
He
Rushmore.
might be
All
the
right.
Mount Rushmore in the entire league. Like if you had an NFL
But he won his
Rushmore.
championship pre-Super Bowl.
He did, and that's and that's why it's hard for me.
Yeah.
It's hard for me but he's so entrenched in
Right.
Brown's greatness, and he was so close to the Super Bowl era.
Sure.
The
But
last championship that was won before
Yeah.
the Super Bowl era, it was won by Jim Brown.
But
and
if
the
we were
Browns.
taking Jim Brown, we were saying 1970 on.
if you take him off,
Who are you putting in right now
You
as
know,
the 4th guy?
you're going to jump on me on this because you have said that he's not a Hall of Famer right now. But for me, it comes down to Nick Chubb or Bernie Cozart.
No, I wouldn't have a problem with either of those.
Oh, I thought
yeah.
you would
I
because
thought you were going to say Baker.
no. Although, for the sake of a nice argument,
No,
I think it would be between Bernie and Nick Chubb. Because of where my heart lies with Bernie and the great memories that he gave me when he was playing, I would lean more towards Bernie on that Mount Rushmore. And Nick still has a little bit of work to do before they knock some granite off Bernie and turn it into Nick.
I'm gonna tell you what. Like people don't want to hear this, and they may not think it's true, but Bernie Cozart is definitely like if you talking about the fans and you say give me one of the most recognizable Cleveland. Bernie Cozart by far is that dude. Like,
well, he was the quarterback
he's
of
that
the
guy.
Most successful
second
Super
most
Bowl
successful
era.
era. Right.
Well, yeah.
Super Bowl era, the most successful.
He was the core piece to
Right.
that 5-year stretch.
That's right.
So,
And his story,
That's the best stretch of Browns football since Jim Brown.
And he said, "I want."
So
sadly, you're
yeah.
right.
Hey, he started the whole "Do you want to play in Cleveland" thing. Like he said, "No, I'm only going to play for my team."
That's right.
Like who does that?
He
Like
manipulated the draft to come into the supplemental so he could play here in Cleveland.
that's crazy. That's crazy.
It's LeBron like.
Yeah.
I mean,
so I like the fact you split it in old and new. A guy who and this kind of sucks, man. I've grown really fond of him, not saying that he's on the Mount Rushmore or anything. But like Amari Cooper, man, I wish he'd have got here about 6 years
If
ago.
he had.
I do too. Yeah.
I just like him. I like the way when he put a Browns uniform on, I see the number 2. It just looked like he'd been wearing it forever. Like he's just
Looks like he belongs.
yeah, like here.
Who's yours?
If we're doing it since the 70s,
Let's do it since the Super Bowl.
okay.
66.
So obviously Joe Thomas is one. I agree with you, Ozzie Newsome. There's no doubt about it. Before Amari Cooper, was the only Browns pass catcher to ever have 2,000-yard seasons, which is crazy.
That's wild.
Amari Cooper just became the first one to do it back-to-back years. And then 3 and 4, the candidates certainly. I agree with Nick Chubb. Myles Garrett's definitely in.
Yeah. So it kind of comes down to Nick or Bernie, doesn't it?
I guess I'd be with you and go with Bernie. But I want Nick Chubb to get in there.
If Nick has a 1,500-yard bounce back, either this year or next.
Yes, then he'll get there.
Then
he'll
you're
pass.
probably the argument is set in stone. See what I did there?
Right.
That it's probably Nick over Bernie. But right now, for the longevity and the memories and carrying the team to greatness, I think great players carry teams to greatness.
Yes.
And Miles hasn't done that yet.
No.
And Nick hasn't done that yet.
Nope.
And Joe never had a chance to do that. So I got to have somebody on my team that led us to team success, and that would be Bernie.
Well, let me ask you guys this. If you just did a team from 99 on, obviously you'd have Miles, you'd have Chubb, you'd have Joe Thomas.
Yeah.
Who's the fourth guy?
It'd probably be a kicker.
Is it Phil Dawson?
I think it'd be Phil.
That's wild.
And that's nuts.
Could you make a case for Joe Hayden?
You could make a case, but you're
could
not
you
going to
make a case
me.
for Joel Bitonio?
No, I don't think so.
I even say, could you make a case for DeQuell Jackson?
That would be the most nondescript of all time.
Right.
That if you've got
I can't put a kicker. I
two
can't
offensive linemen, and a defensive lineman.
Oh,
no, you got to have a skills guy on there.
Joe Hayden. Joe Hayden played some good years here.
Did, but are you going to put a DB on your Mount Rushmore?
Yeah,
I mean, I would if he was a Hall of Famer, but a kicker, I can't. I just can't.
I can't get there.
We all
either.
love Phil Dawson, but
you know what's
Josh Cribbs? Could we put Josh Cribbs on there?
I'll go with Cribbs.
Cribbs got a chance.
Good one.
That's a good one.
I'll go with Cribbs because he did
was
a lot.
Special
he
teams.
was a specialist.
Yeah.
So again, it's kind of embarrassing that one of your Mount Rushmore would be a specialist, but it's been it's been a long 25 years.
Who's a young guy on this team that's got the best chance?
No.
Is it? Well, none of us are thinking Deshaun Watson. Although I don't know at this point if he's still young. He's under 30.
He's old.
Yeah, and I'm not.
I'm not. JOK's got to do it for more than 1 year.
He does.
Yeah, Earl's somewhere screaming Martin Emerson right now.
He is.
I mean,
You're
Denzel
right.
Ward.
Denzel
Ward
could do it.
Got a chance.
If Denzel has a couple more Pro Bowl seasons, like it'll kind of like cement himself. He can be in that mix.
Yeah.
What is a real gut check for Browns fans? If you went around the league and you asked fans from New England, Pittsburgh, the cornerstones of the league, and they're talking about. I mean, look at New England. They haven't had a ton of great players, but Brady was so great.
Yeah, right.
That he made everybody else around him better. Look at the Steelers.
Yeah, you got to leave guys out on those.
You'd have to
lists.
leave. You'd have to have 16 guys on that mountain.
Yeah.
So it really is. It kind of drives home the slim pickings that we've had to deal with.
I'm trying to think who I would pick for the Bengals. I hadn't really thought about it.
Is Joe Burrow on it yet?
No.
Boomer Esiason's on it.
Yes.
Carried him to Super Bowl.
I think Ken Anderson would be on it.
Ooh, wow.
Anthony Munoz.
You got Munoz.
Munoz for sure.
And
Corey Dillon.
Maybe Ken Riley.
You ain't got Corey
Great
Dillon?
defensive
Ken
back.
Riley, another great one.
Corey Dillon was really good. Who'd you say? No, Carlos Dunlap wouldn't make it. In fact, what's his
Let's go
name?
with Pat McInerney because he was a wide receiver and a puncher.
Right.
I always thought that was fascinating.
Chad
mix.
Johnson.
Chad Johnson's definitely
AJ
on there.
Green.
Yeah.
AJ Green. Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see. I don't know.
What's nice is you've got a lot of options, and we're talking about kickers and DBs.
This is.
But times are changing. Here we go.
Somebody said this. Like if this is wild. I did this on Ultimate Browns. Make sure you're watching 5 o'clock Ultimate Browns. Somebody had their list and they said a bold prediction for the Browns if Deshaun Watson leads the Browns to a AFC North division title. I said if he leads them to a division title, that means there's like 7 or 8 things true. Like if the Browns won the AFC North, I could deduce that chances are he would probably be almost comeback player of the year. To win the AFC
he
North,
would deserve it. Whether or not they would vote him,
they're not going to win the North unless he plays great.
Unless he plays,
that's
stellar.
That's not happening.
They are absolutely they're corresponding facts.
Yeah.
Were you guys able to run any of the Peyton Manning interview that I did Thursday?
We did not.
No.
Okay, so I'll give you the cliff notes. I had 2 different conversations with them about this, about the Browns and about Deshaun Watson. He says that this team absolutely has a Super Bowl roster. There's no question about it.
Yeah.
He believes that they can compete for a Super Bowl. He says what we have said. It absolutely 100%, no questions asked. It's black and white. Their year hinges on his play.
No doubt.
Period.
It's that. Yeah,
because everything else is there.
And we argued a little bit, me, Earl, and Bull, and I said, look, there is no world where he cannot put up no numbers where it's just like don't throw interceptions. And
no, it can't be like last year where they won despite the quarterback play.
Right.
It's got to be they win because of the quarterback.
And Earl's argument is he doesn't care about stats. I only care about wins. And I get that in theory, but the Browns are not going to win on the highest level unless Deshaun Watson's putting up big numbers and having success.
Look, they'll beat the lesser teams.
Yes,
but
certainly.
when you get in the playoffs, it's all about the quarterback.
That's right.
What do you do in the games?
Quarterback's got to play great. I spoke to another former quarterback, not as good as Peyton Manning, but I spoke to Steve Berline last week for my podcast. Okay. He said the same thing that Peyton Manning said.
Yeah.
Browns have everything they need. If Watson plays really well, they can win the Super Bowl, no doubt about it.
Yep.
He believes that Deshaun Watson's going to bounce back. And he's not someone who's sugarcoating what he's done the last 2 years. He said he's been terrible the last 2 years.
Right.
But he believes he's going to bounce back this year.
Peyton intimated the same thing.
Yeah.
He hasn't been great.
Yeah.
Peyton wasn't as confident that I asked him point blank, are we ever going to see Houston Deshaun again?
Yeah.
He didn't give me a point answer.
Yeah.
But reading between his lines, he said he's got a lot of work to do. Now he says it's been very tough to start, stop. It's the hardest thing in the world to do. But he has played enough to flash enough, and he hasn't seen it yet.
Right.
The other thing that this is just a fun fact, and we talked at length about the Manning cast, he doesn't even do it from his own house. It's his neighbor's garage, which I was fascinated to hear.
That is so funny.
We talked about that for 20 minutes.
What kind of garage
crazy.
you got?
Well, first of all, you know what kind of house his neighbors have, right?
Yeah. Real quick, guys, Team Medical Mutual is in the lead of the golf scramble through 4 holes. It's very early in it.
Nice. I'm not calling it yet.
Yeah. Thanks to Youth Opportunities Unlimited, Austin Carr, obviously, who put together this tournament and invited us. We really appreciate it. It was our first show on the road.
It wasn't too bad.
Right?
Was it
The
really?
entire show. We did the remote broadcast. Go ahead, real quick.
We did the remote broadcast from Caesars. It was not a full show. This is our first full show live.
Yeah,
There you go. How about that?
All right.
Good job by Anthony and Mike. Good job by the guys
job,
back in the
guys.
studio. We'll see you tomorrow.
That's wild.
Peace.